Okay.
Worth at this time of the season. In recent years, they've been one of the more active players in the transfer markets, and Daisy, personal assistant with a beautiful smile, informs me that they've been busy this time around.
Good evening and welcome to Eyes Up Mother Brown for West Ham United versus Wolverhampton Wanderers for the second time. Actually, we started with this one at the end of last season, but the circumstances are, of course, slightly different. We are not fighting relegation. Well, we kind of are, but not just as dangerously as we were this time in June when we did the last Wolves live stream. Joining me tonight, I'm delighted to bid a welcome to Gnome, to Rio, and to the Pink Palermo. We will be with you for the next couple of hours, watching every single kick of the ball in tonight's game from Stratford, the London Olympic Stadium. And we hope that as many of you as possible can join us to watch the game. We are going to start, as we do traditionally now, with Gnome looking at the team sheets. Gnome, would you like to take us through the teams, please, buddy?
Certainly. West Ham start as follows. Fabianski, Fredericks, Balbuena, Ogbonna, Cresswell, Masuaku, Bowen, Souček, Rice, Fornals, and Antonio. And on the bench, we have Yarmolenko, Anderson, Lanzini, excuse me, Noble, Haller, Johnson, and Randolph. So Noble returns to the bench, and no place for David Martin as a possible auxiliary striker on the bench this time round. Our opponents, Wolverhampton Wanderers, line up with Rui Patricio in goal. Then they have Bowley, Cody, the New England international, Saiss, Nelson Semedo, Neves, João Moutinho, Vinegra, Traore, Jimenez, and Neto. There on the bench they have Hover, Silva, Ferreira, Ruddy, Dendonka, Shabani, and Kilman. Referee this evening is Mr. Martin Atkinson.
Excellent, thank you. So Neto, wasn't that the guy in Marvellous? Wasn't that Neto?
That used to be the sort of rubbish supermarket that you went to if you couldn't afford Quick Save, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's Aldi now, isn't it?
No idea, mate.
Happy Shopper, of course.
Waitrose, me, mate. Yeah.
Hello. Waitrose blast from the past. For those of us with a few bob to spend. Rio, good evening, sir. How you doing?
I'm okay. Thank you very much, mate.
Good. We've seen the two teams. Anything that shocks you or surprises you or particularly pleases you from what we've seen there?
To be honest, I think it's pretty much as expected. We put in a solid performance with largely the same side against Arsenal.
Yep.
Very unlucky. And we know that our manager doesn't like too much change, particularly in league games. I would have thought Haller might potentially get a start considering his form in the Cup, maybe in Anderson, but I think league form dictates that we stick as we were last week, and I reckon we will line up in the very same manner.
Yeah, it does look very good to see Mark Noble back on the bench, back involved in the 18.
I think, as I said last week, I don't exactly know where he fits into the into the lineup at the moment. For me, it's a little bit of a wasted sub, but you never know. You know, experienced club captain, it might play a little part.
Okay, we shall see, of course, if Mark is involved at some point later in the evening. Someone who is definitely involved right at this very point in the evening is the Pink Palermo, who is also joining us from the bunker. How you doing, Pinky? Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, evening all. I mean, well, you know, what can we really expect tonight? I think the last 4 games against Wolves, we've not even registered a goal.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, these are no easy beats. Let's be clear about that. And they've been busy strengthening in the summer, or what passed for it. And we haven't done any real business at all. Souček I'll always count as a January signing.
Yeah.
We've seen a Jetty depart, obviously, and he banged one in again for Celtic this weekend. We've seen Hugel go. We've seen Ngakia go. we've seen Did Garner go, and no one's come in.
Yes.
So in terms of the lineup tonight, what real options does the manager have? And looking at them, particularly at the bench, Yarmolenko, Anderson, Lanzini, Noble, Haller, you'd think most clubs would be embarrassed to have those on the bench. But it's when you start looking for defenders that it sort of catches my eye.
Yeah.
You've got young Johnson there on the bench. I would think the plan, if a centre-back gets injured tonight, they'll drop Rice into the back line. And I suspect that's why we've seen Noble make the bench again tonight. Cullen, who would have been an option, obviously he's COVID restricted this evening. And I think Dirty Jack, I don't think we'll be seeing him in a West Ham shirt again. So, for me, no real shock in the lineup. But when you're fielding Balbuena in for Diop, who, again, COVID restricted, I think most of the transfer talk's been around Diop's position anyway.
Yeah.
The fact that Balbuena is not seen as a preferred starter to Diop tells me not only have we got Diop out tonight, his replacement, the manager doesn't particularly rate, and I would expect our right flank to come under enormous pressure from the first minute tonight.
Good stuff. Thank you. Great analysis as always, Pinky. No, you've given us the teams. Any thoughts immediately about what you've seen there?
Pretty much as expected, as I say, given the combination of COVID and Noble's obviously fit again, but I think he was always going to be on the bench if as we say, we're keeping Rice in midfield, and he's our sort of emergency auxiliary centre half in case of emergency break glass for that one. I mean, I think it was Rio just said a minute ago it might have seen Haller or Anderson. Anderson played very well the other night, but he was going to have to do something extraordinary, I think, to get into what the manager obviously considers to be his league team. Especially, as we said earlier on, we didn't play that badly against Arsenal. And he's obviously given that setup another go.
Okay.
Traore worries me for the opponents as usual, though. But I don't know. I've just got this weird feeling we're going to get a draw tonight. But just a thought, of course, if we do win and we win 4-0, we go above Manchester City. So
quite extraordinary result from Manchester this afternoon. Did you finish 5-2 in the end? Was that the final score?
5-2 it finished in the end. Yeah.
Manchester City 2, Leicester City 5. The battle of the cities, and Leicester absolutely smashing Manchester this afternoon, which was a quite unexpected result, I think. But there you go. That's where we are. Rio, we were going to have a quick look at the forum, weren't we, before the match commenced? We've got about 3 or 4 minutes to go before the players aren't even on the pitch yet, well, according to my stream anyway.
Well, they're coming out now.
Just coming out, yeah. I can see the players just emerging from the tunnel. So while we're waiting for them to enter the arena, Rio, let's have a quick look at the match thread on the KUMB forum and see if people are looking particularly optimistic or pessimistic tonight.
Rather predictably, there's not a lot of optimism in the air. There is a couple, though. Green Iron that says we're going to get a point out of this. Robbie says similar. York's Hammer has made the remarkable observation that looking at the Wolves lineup, if you read it quickly, it sounds like cod, salt, and vinegar are playing for them at the back. So maybe if this had been on a Friday, obviously that would have been more apt. But no, there's not a lot of love in the air at the moment. There's a lot of people who have been moaning the fact that Haller and Yarmolenko aren't starting after linking up well for the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
As we've just discussed, that it's very hard to break into a Moyes side at the moment. There's, again, like I said, not much love in the air, but we'll keep an eye on it, and hopefully with optimism we'll creep back at some point.
Okay, thank you. We shall, of course, be dipping into the forum throughout the evening just to see what you guys are telling us about the game, see how you think it's going, what's happening. We will, of course, also be looking at the chat on YouTube, of course, where anyone joining us on the live stream can post as well. Couple of hellos. Rob Brown, good to see you, Rob. Neil from Down Under says, evening all from South Australia. Get this, 3:21 a.m. on Monday morning. Goodness gracious. Now that is committed. Waking up in the middle of the night. It should be committed to watch West Ham. Good to see you anyway, Neil. Hobo, as usual, one of our regulars. Good to see you, Hobo, once again. Let us know what you think about tonight, how you think it's going to go, whether we can. No one is predicting West Ham to win tonight. Pinky, we're a little bit surprised about. I mean, we've had a not brilliant start. Wolves are looking good, but it's surprised to see not any West Ham fans give us a cat in hell's chance.
I mean, the issue is straightforward, really. The overwhelming majority of our supporters want to see 5 strikers on the pitch at all times as a minimum. And,
yes.
You start with the club record signing on the bench, and it's almost like bursting a balloon at a kid's party. It ruins the tone straight away. But you can't argue against the fact that the last 4 occasions, they've turned us right over. We've always struggled to come up with a plan to combat Traore. Before the last game, every one of the panel on here called it that Traore was going to do the damage, and he did.
We did.
It'll be the same again tonight, and it'll be interesting to see what our plan is. So I can understand the, shall we say, limited enthusiasm or anticipation of a good result for us tonight. But you never know. If any of us could predict with cast iron certainty the result of the game, we'd all be in the Bahamas. Let's be honest, we'd be retired in the Bahamas. So we've got a puncher's chance, but recent history suggests Wolves should be favourite tonight.
Yeah, West Ham looking to land a knockout blow, being as we are joint bottom of the table at the moment, with only Fulham and Sheffield United behind us on goal difference, with a couple of games gone. Of course, it's very, very early days. And as we said recently, up until a few years ago, you wouldn't even see a league table at this time of the year. So it's all doesn't really matter an awful lot. But of course, with the games West Ham have got coming up tonight, Rio, you'd think that tonight, would be one of the best opportunities we've got over the next month to put a point or two on the board, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it does look the most likely, but I can't say I'm full of optimism either, to be honest. There's a positive options about. Obviously, the COVID situation hasn't helped either. Buoyed by the cup run, you might have thought a little bit of confidence would be rising amongst the people who are sitting on their bench. They might send a message to those starting, but I just really can't see anything happening tonight, to be honest.
Okay. Well, we shall, of course, see. We are underway. Should we have a quick... you can't do a time check yet because there isn't a clock on my screen, so I can't tell you how far.
Well,
we'll do that in just a minute.
I'm 1:16 in, if that's any use for anybody.
Okay.
I'm a minute behind.
Okay. Pinky?
I'm with Gordon. I'm bang on. I've got the BT coverage on.
Okay, good stuff. I still can't see a clock on mine, but I have started, so I'm probably back with Rio. Pinky mentioned West Ham haven't won any of the last 4 meetings against Wolves. The results most recently a 2-0 defeat in June earlier of this year. Last December, we lost 2-0 at Molineux. January, also in 2019, we were beaten 3-0 quite convincingly. And then, of course, September 2018, one of Wolves' first away games since being promoted from the Championship, ended in a 1-0 defeat at the London Stadium, with that man Traore scoring the only goal of the game. You have to go back to January 2016 for an FA Cup tie at the Bowling Ground for West Ham's last win, 1-0, beating Wolves in January. Guys, who scored the only goal of the game that day? Can we remember? Quick question for you. Jelavic, yeah, well done, Rio, of course. It was scoring the only goal with 6 minutes of time to play that day. West Ham beating then Championship Wolves 1-0, our last victory against the Wanderers. David Moyes, no, not in the stadium tonight, or at least we hope he isn't. Alan Irvine is taking matters, but we do understand that Mr. Moyes is linked to the bench via the wizardry of modern technology.
Yeah. Just Alan Irvine was mentioning earlier on there that he said, the Wi-Fi is good in here. So they've obviously fixed it since I was last in the press room around there. We've just promising little run down the right, but we couldn't get the cross in. Goes out for a goal kick. Fredericks couldn't quite wrap his boot around it. But fairly even start, 3 minutes and 6-7 seconds gone. Neither team really sort of committing much. That was probably the first proper attacking move of either side, and it came to naught really.
Okay.
So yeah, 3 minutes in and nothing's gone wrong.
Rio, Fabian Balbuena looked pretty good the other night. Of course, as we said, it was only against Hull City, but he was the only experienced pro really in that back four. Much expected of him again tonight, but can be a completely different proposition, isn't it?
Yeah, he's up against a very tough lineup attacking wise. I think Balbuena suffered as much as Anderson last season. He didn't have a proper pre-season, did he? He was away in with Paraguay, was it?
Yeah.
In the Copa America. He didn't get a proper break, and he really did suffer with that. And obviously, he felt to re-establish himself once following the first defeat of the season at home Man City. He never got a foothold, and he was a shadow of the player that we saw in his first season. So I really hope he kind of steps up to the mark tonight.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that I'm not entirely confident that West Ham's IT budget is going to stretch the Wi-Fi down in the dugout. I think he's on a pay-as-you-go Motorola on Tesco Mobile or something like that, to be honest. That's a very best.
I did spot a tin can and a very long piece of string, but that's one for the kids there.
That's to keep our back four together.
Yeah. Let's hope that the Wi-Fi is better than it has been. Of course, we had terrible trouble getting any sort of Wi-Fi in the stadium until fairly recently. Perhaps it's different when there's only 10 people inside the ground as opposed to 60,000, maybe. I must confess, gentlemen, Pinky and No Mind considerably behind you guys. So we are, and Rio, I'm on 4 minutes and 6 seconds at the moment. So I think I'm a little bit behind with Rio.
Yeah.
So,
well, we just won a free kick deep down in our corner. Owen found himself hemmed in and having to go backwards towards the goal. And I'm not sure that was now, but cleverly drew the foul. Let's put it that way. He got a nudge in the back from our friend Vinegar or Vinegra, and so we've got it's a free kick, right hand side of our penalty area, just outside. Fabianski's going to take it along. So not an awful lot happening at the moment.
West Ham v Wolves head-to-head, Pinky. Who do you reckon's won the most matches historically?
Oh, historically, I'd probably think Wolves. Just shading it.
Well, actually, it's the other way round, but it is extremely close, as you've said. West Ham 28 wins to Wolves 22 with 14 draws. So very, very close, as you rightfully pointed out there, but not a lot in it. So yeah, we've got a little bit of room there, but very, very close traditionally. I'm just seeing Bowen get sent to the deck there, so I think that's the free kick you're talking about.
That's the free kick I mentioned.
So
Wolves are breaking now. Long ball play, but that's just cleared away. We've watched it. Ogbonna's watched it carefully and cleared it upfield, and it's actually come back downfield for a throw into us. I'm surprised at that statistic. I mean, I always remember as a kid in the 60s, Wolves was one of those places where we always think we go away and lose 3-0.
Yeah.
With a guy called John Richards scoring. Who everybody kept saying, oh, yeah, he's worth an England spot. And I think, I'm not sure if he ever played for England. He may have got one cap. As Souček gives away a free kick now. Yeah, just a little tap on the back of Jimenez.
He was the sort of player that would drive a Ford Capri back in the day.
John Richards, yeah. And on the spotlight on, it would always be favourite meal, steak and chips.
And favourite singer, Diana Ross.
Diana Ross, as in that book, yeah.
As in the book, steak, chips and Diana Ross. West Ham United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. So far, if you're just joining us, there's about 7.5 minutes gone. I think, I'm guessing actually, but I know I'm about a minute behind on my stream.
Yep.
On the
7.5
Sky stream. Rob Brown, Rob says we're going to win 3-1. Have faith. Lovely to hear, Rob. Nice to hear a bit of optimism, and by golly, we need it after the start we've had to the season. And Gavin McGrath says he's doubting the intelligence of West Ham fans on Twitter. Seems like they all think Haller should start. Comments Pinky. I think that's ludicrous. He's not changed. I presume you mean Haller and not Pinky, because Pinky's certainly wearing a different T-shirt, at least to the one that adorned that spelt figure on Tuesday night for the whole game. 8 minutes gone. Rio, what have you noticed so far? Anything sort of really standing out for you?
No, we've actually played a couple of nice little passes. Fornell's played a very nice one in behind. Balbuena's looked pretty solid, but there's not much in it so far.
Yep.
And long may it continue, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and Wolves sort of just perhaps beginning to get a little bit of a foothold, looking slightly stronger. Pinky, anything that you've noticed so far tactically or from West Ham or Wolves?
No, I mean, Wolves have got a fair bit of pace in the team tonight, and this lad is Semeldo, the defender they've signed. It's also worth pointing out, in terms of their bench, they've got a £35 million player on their bench as well.
Yes.
So it isn't just West Ham United that are leaving, expensive players out of the side. Wolves can do it as well.
Yes. Of course, Wolves have been spending a considerable amount of money during the summer. I did see a statistic the other day. Now, I didn't actually check this, but it said that of the 200 biggest clubs in Europe, the only one yet to spend any money during the summer transfer window was West Ham United. So not just the Premier League, but going beyond all the big leagues in Europe, West Ham, the only one to commit to bringing any new players in, which probably won't surprise anybody, really. Noam, 9.5 minutes or so gone.
Yeah, Traore's just gone on a run. He's left Masuaku down there, got to the byline, but just ran out of pitch, really, and didn't get the cross one out before it could do any damage. That's the first we've really seen of Traore. Yeah, I mean, it's been that even, but both sides' main attacks, such as they are, have come from runs down the right, which have ended in non-crosses, and it's one each on those at the moment.
Okay, good stuff. Arthur Masuaku, Rio, big chance really for him. He's sort of worked his way back into the team. Big night for him really. Do you expect much from him? I mean, defensively we've obviously always been concerned, but can he provide something for West Ham going forward?
He can. It's just with him, it's concentration, isn't it? He's obviously been brought in to kind of augment Cresswell down the left, because we know they've got Traore, they've got their other attacking options, all, as Pinky said, incredibly pacey. So Arthur comes in to kind of counter that.
Mm-hmm.
But given a little bit of freedom, and he always needs a little bit of space in front of him. He always seems to need 2 or 3 yards for him to kind of shine. Yeah. But he's got, but as we said, he's got very quick feet. Just the brain doesn't match it half the time. But if we can actually get a bit of the delivery we saw that he provided against Arsenal last week, a couple of crosses he put in very, very interesting. We just need him to get that little bit of space going forward. But I just hope his defensive duties don't kind of nullify that.
Yeah, we just saw Traore.
Just seen a nearly lovely ball from Declan Rice, played from the left side of centre midfield outright to both, just slightly overhit, but it was. We've won the ball back anyway from the throw in. We've now got the throw in, but it was Bowen had a lot of space out there, and if we can get that radar right, that crossfield ball could come in useful. Throw it to West Ham, nothing much happening there.
Okay, Pinky, one player that we've been slightly critical of since the season began was our man Declan Rice. Sort of looked very, very slow against Newcastle. Picked up a little bit against Arsenal, looks a little bit better, but we're expecting much better from him tonight.
Yeah, I mean, very clear it was a fitness issue. I've made the point repeatedly.
Yeah,
2 games for England is not a pre-season. It's that simple. And Declan's not the smallest of players, and it probably takes a little while to get him up to full pace in terms of sharpness. So I'm expecting a better performance from him tonight. He's a good player. He just wasn't match fit in the early games, and it doesn't matter whether you're Pele or Declan Rice. If you're not match fit, you're not match fit. It's that simple.
Yeah, sure.
We've just seen Neto take on Balbuena, and Balbuena, had a yard start, and Neto still went round him. Balbuena got back, and Wolves have forced a corner, but Balbuena really should have been in a better place to clear that. That was a bit worrying there.
Noam, we'll stick with you for the corner. Take us through it.
Short corner's been taken. Not quite sure who's taken that. Can't see the number. It's been played short. and it's been, oh, that's a terrible ball. It's been played accidentally all the way back to our friend Vinegar. As a miss hit pass. Now coming back again, we've seen off that attack, and it's back in midfield with Wolves. So a bit of a wasted corner, really. It's taken short, and the play back didn't go to the player it was intended to by about 15 yards, I think.
Okay, we're just coming up to 14 minutes of time played in the first half. It is West Ham United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. No goals so far, no shots on target, no shots at all, actually. West Ham with 48% possession as I speak to Wolves 52. Very, very even. Wolves have committed 2 fouls to West Ham's 1. So not really a lot to get excited about so far. But Rio, we were kind of, we're not too disappointed by that, I guess, are we? Because we've obviously managed to nullify, Wolves' potency so far, and we know they're pretty strong going forward.
Yeah, very much. I mean, we've seen a couple of bit of evidence that their pace could trouble us, but as mentioned, the cross-field balls could get in behind their defence as well. Yeah, it's just two teams kind of cancel each other out. Yeah, I mean, from our point of view, it's very promising because they're a decent side Wolves. They're full of attack, full of pace, incredibly tricky. So yeah, the longer it stays this way, the better for us.
Okay, good stuff. West Ham just sort of still trying to feel their way into the game at the moment. We're about a quarter of an hour through, and it's, as I said, it's still West Ham United Wolves 0. Gnome.
Yeah, Traore again went down the right, got his cross in this time. Balbuena's header was more up than out. We managed to clear it kind of eventually, but really, Wolves hadn't committed people into the box. There were 3 West Ham defenders in the box. And Balbuena was the one who basically the cross picked out, but his header nearly put us back into trouble. But it's back out again, back with Wolves on the halfway line now. So we're beginning to sit back a little bit, which is not something that we're particularly good at, as we've seen in recent weeks.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out there was a brilliant challenger about a minute or so ago that I'm just seeing from Angelo Ogbonna, about 35 yards from goal. The Wolves striker picked it up, and he's come very, very quickly out to meet that and put in a really strong challenge. Good stuff from our runner-up player of the year from last season. Pinky, let's talk about Pablo Fornals. Now, I think it's fair to say you and I are both fans of the young Spaniard. Lots of people not so sure. We have quite a few on the KUMB Forum who seem quite critical of his performances and what he offers. Do we think he, deserves to stay in that team at the moment, or should Moyes perhaps be, looking at other options? You still happy for him to be out there?
At this point in time, absolutely, because part of the criticism that 1 or 2 players get is based around people's perceptions of the alternatives, and we just keep coming back to the same issue, which is,
hang on, guys,
they're not starting. West Ham 1-0 up. Yes, get in.
It's in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Pinky, take us through the goal, buddy.
Super finish. Yeah, he struck it with his left. Wolves keeper no chance. Well played, West Ham.
I'll talk you through that. Wolves were looking promising on the edge. Declan Rice got his foot in, superb tackle, played it up to Antonio, who was basically upended. We took the free kick really quickly out to Bowen, who ran at the defence and just curled it round into the far post. It's a beaut.
And it was Fornals who took the kick quickly. Quick thinking by
man. How about that for timing?
We tried to take a quick free kick earlier on in the game, and Atkinson stopped it. So that which you may have heard me say, Atkinson, because there was no reason for stopping it. This time he didn't, and it caught Wolves asleep. And good start.
Rio, what do we reckon about that free kick? Wolves, is there going to be a bit of controversy there? It was taken very quickly. Was the ball dead? I guess that's the question.
It's just being replayed now. I think it was still moving, just slightly, but it was. But it was incredibly quick thinking, very intelligent, and what a finish! Yeah. from both players. Very quick thinking, very adept finishing. It's a fine goal.
Right here again, where he's just been cut out. Sorry.
Okay, good stuff. It is West Ham United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. An absolutely brilliant goal from Jarrod Bowen. Now, this is really good timing, because we were again talking on the KUMB Forum earlier in the week about Bowen for all the good football that he's played since he came from Hull in January. He's only scored 1 goal, doubling his tally for the club there tonight. And that Pinky, a fantastic strike from Bowen. But there he is. There's our man, Pablo Fornals with the free kick.
Yeah, and Fornals, his work rate in the matches that we've seen so far this season has been exemplary. Yeah. And the way that Moyes is using him, and Antonio just unleashed another shot. It wasn't a great shot, but he's made the Wolves keeper work, which is always a good thing. But no, Fornals is being used as the player to drag the players out quickly at pace at the transition, and he's always the furthermost forward midfielder. I think he's playing well, and I think a lot of the criticism comes from he isn't Anderson, he isn't Haller, and he isn't Yarmolenko. That's where the criticism is coming from, and I can understand why a lot of our supporters are saying, why can't those players get in the team? But the reality is the manager can't pick them all, and the manager's job is to pick a winning team, not the 11 best players at the club.
Very much so. I couldn't agree with you more on that. Yeah, we're just seeing that chance. Talking there about that chance for Antonio. Nice little build up on the left involving Masuaku Fornals.
That was so nearly a killer ball again. Fantastic work from Declan Rice on the edge of the box to bring the ball away. Played it up to Antonio, who went forward, and the through ball to Bowen was just cut out. We're playing some good stuff, Whisper It here. I mean, Pinky, you're up with me, aren't you? So yeah, what do you reckon?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, in the space of 5 minutes, we've gone from Wolves looking like they had a stranglehold on the game.
Yep.
To us completely bossing it all of a sudden. Pull it back, son. All right, again. Oh. Yeah, Wolves appear to have fallen apart a bit here. It's quite nice to see.
This was one of those decisions. Fornals went down the left, but looked offside. And it was one of those ones where the linesmen have been told not to put their flag up until the following Tuesday. And they're just showing the goal again. It had just stopped, I think, that ball. Only just. They're very lucky. Just looking at it there, that looked like it had just stopped. Just, though. It wasn't still moving.
I wonder if that's the reason they're showing it again, just because there was some...
It is.
A little bit, yeah, it was.
I'm not listening to him because he's a bit of an idiot, but the caption on the screen had the voice of Peter Walton, who's their sort of go-to ex-ref, who hilariously the other week he was the one that so I'll come back to that in a second. Antonio's got the ball, plays a lovely ball out left. We've got Masuaku now. Mishits his crossfield ball, but Bowen's won it back. Plays it into Antonio. But Bowen looked like he was flattened there, but Atkinson's way play on. No, just saying, Peter Walton. John Moss rescinded the sending off a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And
Wolves were in it. Well timed by Fabianski. I mean, Traore cut inside, cut right through our middle, played a ball wide, and we did well to tidy it up in the end. But Traore really is their man that causes all the problems for us.
Yeah.
But no, just saying with Walton though, he just sort of said, "Yep, that's a sending off all day long." Moss had another look at it, decided it wasn't, and then they went back to Walton. He said, "Yeah, it wasn't a sending off. So make your mind up, mate."
It is West Ham United 1, Wolverhampton 1.
Antonio in the box, twisting and turning, but runs into traffic and runs out. Souček a little bit lucky there to didn't connect with. I think that's Neto. Neto going down the left. Ball played in. Bonner just about does enough. Very untidy, but ball bobbles along. They just about managed to clear it. And the ball's now on our right-hand side. Bowen plays it back inside. We've got Souček there. looking for someone to play it to, and it'll all calm down a little bit. But
okay, all right, thank you. No, just nearly 24 minutes gone. It's West Ham United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Wolves looked the better for the opening 15-20 minutes, and then, as Pinky pointed out a few moments ago, sort of just went to pot for about 5 minutes, and West Ham scored the only goal of the game so far and have created reasonable chances. No?
Well, no, just we've got the ball back now. That's a lovely turn from Antonio, but he's run back into trouble again. No, Fredericks we were in a promising position, and Fredericks just, the pass was played sort of to nobody in between 2 or 3 players. We did win it back. Antonio caused a little bit of a hassle up there, and but as I say, he ran into traffic in the end. Possession back with Wolves on the halfway line now.
Okay, let's come back to that in just a minute. Rio, should we dip into the KUMB Forum match thread and see what's going on there? Are you ready to go, buddy? Have you got some?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Yeah, I'm just about to point out that there's a couple of people just mentioning that the fact that Wolves are about to expose us down the flanks, the pace was getting more intense. There was creating opportunities, and we come back with this goal, and it's been unanimous praise for the way that Fornell's quick thinking implemented it, and also for Bowen, the way he finished it. Not one negative comment.
What a fine move.
Pinky, take us up.
Pinky,
yeah, lovely break by us down the left-hand side. Good cross into the middle and hit first time, I think, by Souček. Maybe a bit harsh to say he should have scored. He made sure the keeper worked, but we could have been 2-0 up there. So we're playing some good stuff here.
Very encouraging so far. I mean, of course, we were saying 20 minutes or so ago that not many Hammers fans were giving us a chance here tonight, and we're 1-0 up at the moment and looking good for a second at the moment. Not that I want to tempt fate, but why not? Let's be, let's be full of praise when we can. Rio, back to you on the forum there, buddy, please.
Yeah, sure. I think WTP really summed it up. Just says great awareness from Fornells and great ball handling from Bowen. It was 1-on-4 and he kept his cool, which for a player just coming out of the championship, really, with like little experience, is a real mark of how quality he's been. Just trying to find the next one that I was looking for.
Well, while you're doing that, Rio, Wolves have a free kick here, which is maybe about, well, let's see, about 26, 27 yards out, and the Wolves formed. Free kick taken, it's dinked in. Oh, Fabianski comes out. He doesn't gather it cleanly, but that's because the forward came in with a high foot. But he did what he needed to do, which was have 2 players offside there as well. But yeah, that was superb from Fab. It was brave from Fabianski. Didn't gather it cleanly, but blocked the free kick. Sorry, Rio, all yours, mate.
Thanks, no. Yes, Rio, over to you.
Yeah, going back, just as we was discussing, or you discussed with Pinky about Fornells, a comment come on from Celador. We have really so few players who can work in tight spaces on the pitch right now. Maybe Fornells, and that's it. Really showed on that last possession. Rice and Bowen both couldn't work in a small space as well. Turned it over and the opponent breaks it down all the way. And yeah, that's absolutely true. But then Pablo steps up with that quick little bit of thinking. And ever since then, we look like a different team.
Yeah. We've got Neto bursting forward. That was worrying. It wasn't Traore, but somebody was totally unmarked out on the right. Thankfully, the attack broke down, but we've got to keep an eye out on our left there. As through ball to Bowen doesn't quite work. Wolves, there's Traore is on the ball now, and but it's there's no urgency about the Wolves attack. It's back on the halfway line now, so carry on, guys.
Thank you. No, just very quickly, Rio, before we come back for a couple more. 28 minutes almost gone in the game. West Ham United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. West Ham 46% possession, Wolves 44. West Ham 3 shots on target, and Wolves 1. The only goal, of course, going to West Ham. Every single shot from West Ham on target so far, which is pretty good, I guess. Rio, what else have we got from the match thread, buddy?
Yeah, 61 Dixie's pointed out that Antonio must learn to release the ball quicker. He's held on to it 2 or 3 times now when Bowen was better placed. Souček with a nice dink, and he was unlucky, as we saw. An aging Hammer. Whenever we score a goal, the commentators go over and try and find some way that it should be disallowed. Yet when the opposition score a dodgy goal, they do absolutely odd all. Why do they hate us so much?
Just had a shot, by the way. thankfully, his radar was off, but found himself a bit of space on the right-hand side this time. Hit a left foot shot curling towards the far post, but good 2 yards wide, 2-3 yards wide at least.
Okay,
but again, we were backing off a bit there.
Pinky?
Calling for a life ban on the forum for Iron Lunga. Yeah. Okay. Ballantyne has written, Rice looks much better today. And Iron Lunga has come back with, maybe he is sleeping on a new pillow.
Oh, shocking.
That's life ban stuff. That is, I'm sorry, but, the club's got some tough times at the minute. We don't need things like that. Poor Iron Lunga.
Poor punnery, indeed.
Oh,
Pinky.
it's still alive. Oh, well, we could have been two up there.
Okay, no, tell us.
A bit of a scramble there. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but Wolves are very lucky to only be 1-0 down at this point. We still got the ball though. Antonio's
okay, keep with it.
Played the ball in the box, but not quite got the angle right. And I'm sure I'll show a replay of that again, and maybe it'll be throwing down the left. Antonio picked it up on the edge of the box, got the cross in. It ballooned up. Souček came heading in. Keeper saved it. Bowen hooked it across the box in the end. Antonio had the trigger cock there, and it just got cleared off before he could actually get anything on it. So,
Yet again, it's that move with Souček arriving late in the box and making his aerial presence felt. I've got to say, I mean, we're starting to play, in the league games now with some consistency in terms of our approach, and almost as if there's a plan, a game plan. So fair play to the coaching staff at this point in time.
Maybe we should keep Davy Moyes at home every week then. I think we saw a shot earlier. It looked like Stuart Pearce was the conduit, you may say, with his headphones on. Looked like the old Walkman headphones he had on.
Antonio on the ball again. Plays it out wide to Bowen. We're on the move here. Bowen's bearing down. He's gone wide. Oh, got a sort of, I don't know if it was a shot or an attempted pass to Antonio. Took a flick off the defender back into the keeper's arms. But Antonio and Bowen looking dangerous together there on the right-hand side.
Yeah. I think they have done pretty much all night, haven't they? Talking about Bowen, Gavin McGrath on the... Hi, Gavin. Good to see you on the stream tonight. Gavin McGrath says, the more I see Bowen, the more I think he's a born striker. What do you make of that, Rio? Do you think perhaps we should be playing in a little bit more sort of central and advanced position?
I don't think he's got the strength for the more central position. I think he is much better coming off the flanks.
Yeah.
He's not the only one to mention it, actually, because on the forum, I'm just trying to find who posted it, but he said he's got a touch of the Dane Ashton's about him tonight, which is high praise indeed.
Yeah.
But, I just don't think that he's really got the strength to play that central role. I think coming off the flank, he's got a little bit of trickery, cuts inside well, and I think you can expose like the fullbacks and getting in behind them. And don't tinker with him too much. Just let him excel at what he does really well.
Yeah, fair point.
And also, let's praise him for his work rate.
Antonio's been fouled again, right on that very spot that he's been, and that's been 3 or 4 times. He's holding the ball up well, and they haven't got an answer to that at the moment, Wolves. And he either holds it or he takes a little touch to do a first-time turn. And it's happened again there. They've just upended him in the centre circle there. He's playing. People say about Antonio's choices and all that. I think he's playing exceedingly well today because he's holding the ball up well. He's bringing Bowen into it at times. Yes, there's been a couple of maybe delayed passes, but I think he's having a good game so far today, Antonio.
Yeah, he's definitely putting himself about, as is Jared Bowen, Pinky. You were just about to come in on the Bowen question there.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry,
his work rate this evening, I mean, we just saw a moment or two ago, we were out of possession. He tracked his man every single yard of the way, all the way to the dead ball line. And you think back to last Sunday evening or Saturday evening, whenever it was, and Yarmolenko didn't do the hard yards, didn't do the work, and Arsenal worked the ball and got the winner. So, tonight, the pick for me, or the 3 players that have caught my eye really, is Antonio, Bowen and Fornells. They are playing very well indeed. This is encouraging stuff. I've got to be honest. At the back, we look ropey as hell. So do Wolves, and our kind of like attacking unit is doing more than the Wolves at this point in time.
Yeah, very much so. It's encouraging stuff. As we said, we are more than a third of the way through the game now. West Ham United 1-0 ahead, looking good at the moment, and looking the more likely to get the second goal of the game if one is to arrive before the half-time interval. Excuse me. Did a repeating on me. I do apologise. And yeah, so I just wonder, Noam, do you think there's anything in the fact that Yarmolenko scored twice the other night, 2 assists, putting a real pressure on Bowen there for that right wing spot, that has perhaps made Bowen produce that extra 5 or 10% tonight?
Yeah, it's a theory, I suppose, but he's just about to take a free kick. I'll come back to you on the point.
Sure.
Free kick played high into the box, but it's cleared to the edge of the box, and well, yeah, we're defending well up the pitch. Wolves tried to bring that away, and we've blocked that out for a throw-in. So there's good work going all over the pitch. But yeah, I mean, it's good that there is an away competition for places.
Yep.
I mean, you can argue left, right, and centre whether or not Yarmolenko a performance against Hull was good enough to really seriously put him in contention. But let's face it, if your potential replacement's getting a couple, it doesn't matter what the game is, you're probably going to be thinking about, I need to be putting a shift in today. So
yeah,
it's not going to hurt anyway, put that way.
No, that's true. Well, whatever's whatever the reason, Bowen's having a stormer so far. Pinky called it absolutely spot on there. I think Antonio and Noam as well. Antonio, Bowen, and Fornell's been exceptional so far. And I think credit actually to Fabianski. He hasn't had a lot to do, but he's looked alert and sharp so far. And we've been a little bit concerned, Rio, haven't we, about Fabianski in the last few weeks? Some people perhaps thinking he's not, quite as sharp as he was a couple of years ago. But he's done all right so far tonight, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to give a little bit of credit to the defence and all for marshalling it so well.
Great.
Someone's just put in the forum, Simon Hammer. We're all over them. We're playing with pace and purpose. It's refreshing to see. There's more goals in this for tonight. Just got to stick our chances away. Bowen looks more of a handful than Traore is.
True.
And to say that, with Traore's record against us with his pace, it's a bit high praise, but he's not the only person on the forum to mention that we really do need a second while we're exerting our pressure, because we all know what happens
now.
No, thank you.
Wolves have a corner on the left. Just
yep.
about to take. Neto takes it long this time, and I think it was Jimenez. Not sure who got on the end of it. I think it was Jimenez got on the end of it. Looping header. Fabianski gathers safely under a bit of pressure from the forward. But no real worries there. So perhaps a better corner there from Wolves than the first one, which ended up eventually on the halfway line. Antonio lays it off beautifully again in the centre. He's played it out for a throw-in now, but again, he's playing like a really good target man. I mean, he's laying it off nicely. He's gathering the ball. If he takes that touch, he turns, he buys the free kick. It's as now Fredericks has just intercepted the ball on the right. He's going down the right. Ball goes in, and the header from Souček gets blocked by a defender. Ball's out as far as Rice, who's he's getting himself in a little bit of a tangle out on the right wing, but he's managed to keep the ball live. Back to Balbuena. Who plays a terrible ball, which gets cleared, but still live. Ball's out to Masuaku if he can keep that in, which he does. And the overlap is coming down now. That's ball played in. Antonio tries to make the run for the shot, and he pulls it wide. Again, promising stuff. I'd just like to see us taking a few more of these chances.
And making note in your diary, I'm going to praise Arthur Masuaku here.
Yeah.
Okay, so make a note of this. His pull down there, his first touch was Rooney-esque. It was that good. Okay, I mean, a wonderful touch just to control the ball. I mean, he ain't doing that again in his career, that's for sure. But he did well there.
I'm just going to point out on the forum, Celador's made a comment Masuaku isn't the best player in our squad by long ways, but he honestly might be the most important player to have in the starting 11 right now. Not only our left-hand side of the defence, so vulnerable to any smidgen of pace is huge, and it changes our shape entirely.
Yeah, very good point, actually. And obviously, Davy Moyes has seen something he likes about him in the last couple of weeks to kind of change the shape and bring him in and give us the added attacking impetus on the left-hand side. I guess Pinky, of course, also freeing up Fornals in a sense in other areas.
Yeah, I mean, very much so. I mean, this is a game of two attacks, really. The West Ham attack, a lot more effective tonight than the Wolves attack so far. I mean, if you took Drury out of the Wolves team at this point in time, they'd have nothing. I mean, they're looking very ordinary without him. But we, on the other hand, as an attacking unit, are doing far, far more. And with that extra little bit with Souček arriving late in the box and his height and his presence, you know, he's doing a touch of the Frank Lampard with his late arrival to cause a threat. So, you know, West Ham are playing good football here. I mean,
that's superb.
You know,
Ball played up.
You'd almost pay money to watch this.
No, what is it? What is it you see?
Exasperating, but there was a ball played up to Antonio, who laid it off first time inside. The run came to nothing. We had the final ball was lacking, but it was just a superb layoff from Antonio, who's on fire tonight. He's having a superb game. But I wish I'd show that again, because it was played off to him, and it was laid in front of the player. And it's always a bugbear of mine when it gets played at feet, when you know you could play it in front and have the run, and it was just perfect. Lovely stuff.
Good stuff. West Ham United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. 40 minutes on the clock. On my clock, at least. Anyway, West Ham pretty much in control. Had all the best chances so far. Scored the only goal of the game.
Traore went down the right, but pulled it back, but pulled it behind everyone, and we clear. And we've actually won a throw in ourselves out on the left. But we need to be careful, because a couple of times Traore's got down there, but we've handled him fairly well, considering he's been our major worry of late.
Okay, good stuff. Rio, we've talked about our maligned defence quite a lot. We've got Issa Diop, of course, missing in there tonight. What do we think about his replacement, Fabian Balbuena, out there so far? Well, obviously, he came in last week against Hull, but first Premier League start tonight for the season.
Yeah, no, he looks very assured so far tonight. I've been quite impressed, and he's very much recaptured the form of his first season here, which for me was very impressive. What I think makes a difference is that I always thought that Diop was more of a left-sided centre-half. And certainly in the first season when he partnered up with Balbuena took the right-hand side, Diop the left.
Yep.
Now, with Ogbonna playing, who's always going to be left-sided.
Yep, left-footed.
Him and Diop, Diop always looks a bit uncertain. I mean, we got caught out the other week, last week, wasn't it, against Arsenal? The ball come on his right, and he was a bit slow-footed. And he does get caught out when the ball's on his right-hand side a few times. Yeah. So, yeah, I think Balbuena brings a bit of natural balance there, really.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you. Pinky, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're, lovely ball slung in there by Cresswell. I think it's Antonio trying to get on the end of it, and the Wolves defender just clears it before it hits Antonio. But I wouldn't quite say we're cutting them open at will, but there's a lot more action in the Wolves half than ours, that's for sure.
Yeah, very much so. According to the stats,
West Antonio. Oh, Antonio shot!
Oh!
No, he knocked 2-0 up.
What's going on over there?
Antonio gets into the box, turns his man, gets the shot away, saved by the keeper. We'll just show it again now. Wolves throw in, nodded forward there. Antonio turns superb well. Shot from a relatively tight angle, keeper saves, and Antonio he's a little bit like Andy Carroll when Andy Carroll was being impossible to play, but Fornals came in on the rebound and just ballooned it over. But Antonio it must be a nightmare to play against tonight, the way he's looking out there.
Yeah, he's kind of playing that very similar role, Pinky, isn't he, to the one that Andy. I mean, Gnome pointed out the similarity there. Very Carroll-esque tonight in some ways.
It's his power. They can't handle his power.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a strong player, and he's playing like a man who wants a new contract. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. You know, if I had the prospect for another 2 or 3 year deal on 70 or 80 grand a week, I might actually turn up before 5 to 9 in the morning. But no, I mean, a scoreline of 4-0 at this stage wouldn't particularly flatter West Ham.
I guess that's the worry, though, isn't it, Pinky?
Well, stood up to the back post.
And you know, we have had so many opportunities that we remain only 1-0 up. That you know, we desperately.
Oh, superb! After Masuaku take the bounce down.
No,
unlucky. Masuaku broke up an attack and came out, and it's one of those moves that you wish something a goal would have come of it, just so they'd be looking at highlighting the start of it as Masuaku came out. Cool head, superb defensive play from him to start off with, and then just a shame that the move came to naught on the halfway line. But
we are rapidly approaching the half-time interval. West Ham still lead 1 goal to 0 here at the moment. It's looking very good for West Ham at the moment, Rio. We're looking particularly strong.
Yeah, this is it's almost slightly unnerving, isn't it? We look composed, we're attacking with purpose, we're moving the ball a lot faster than we have done. We just really do need that second, and Fornell's missed there. He had to do better. I mean, I'm full of praise for him normally, but that was a bit of a shocker.
Yeah. No, any worries about, you know, we're so much in control here that, you know, we haven't got that second goal yet so far.
Wolves just had a chance. As the fourth official shows, 1 minute of added time to go. Wolves had a chance, a shot from the edge of the box. I think it was, I'm sure it was now, but it did bring a save out of Fabianski, which is probably the first proper save he's had to make. Bowen's done well. He's been stuck in the corner down there, and he's just got himself a try. Yeah, I mean, that shot did sort of bring it into a little bit of focus. Like, you know, okay, we're playing well. We are the better side. We are only 1-0 up, and let's, you know, something like that. We could have easily been going in 1-1. There's still, about 20 seconds left of the stoppage time. I'm not quite sure what the delay is at the moment. Antonio's got the ball for a throw-in, which will probably keep down here for a minute or so.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you very much.
Antonio's, he's got the ball in the byline, and it's gone out now. Throw into Wolves right down the corner.
Okay, good stuff. Pinky, yeah, we spoke about Fabianski, didn't we, a few moments ago? But, you know, he's been called upon fairly rarely in the first half. But, you know, he's been by the way so far.
Yeah, I mean, and a very good first half from West Ham United there. You know, and I'm going to praise the coaching staff here a little bit. And I touched earlier on the manager picking the best team, you know, rather than the best players. And it sounds an obvious thing, but the shape he's gone with, you know, it allows us to get away with a couple of ropey fullbacks defensively by actually changing the shape of the team. He can kind of gloss over Cresswell and Frederick's limitations by actually saying, right, we'll put Cresswell into a back three kind of setup, have Masuaku in front of him. Johnson's obviously Fredericks is playing further up on the other side. With Souček and Rice in the middle, it is making us much harder to make errors, if you know what I mean. So our weak players aren't exposed to the extent they were, should we say, in the first half of last season. So I think credit the manager. He's got a plan. The downside of his plan is there's no room for Mr. Haller, Mr. Anderson, and Mr. Yarmolenko. And I understand why supporters are frustrated, but at the end of the day, the manager's got to play the cards he's got and win matches now. And that's the game. And I think having those players on the bench, the other aspect of his job at this point in time, if a bid came in for Anderson or for Haller, and we might see less of the posturing by the player and saying, I don't want to go to club A, B or C if they know they're not going to get a game here. And that's the other aspect of the manager's job that he has to handle, that we as supporters don't.
Yeah, good stuff. Rio, Pinky there mentioned we've not really spoken about him tonight, but I just want to. It is, of course, half time, 46 minutes and 7 seconds. The half time whistle blown. West Ham United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Great first half for West Ham. Rio, let's talk to me about Aaron Cresswell. Much maligned in recent, well, I was going to say weeks and months, but seasons really. Given a slightly different role and an opportunity to impress in central defence. Not seen an awful lot of him, but I guess that's a good thing, isn't it? From a defensive perspective, he's not put a foot wrong, and perhaps the fact that he's maybe slowing down a bit, being over 30 now, perhaps maybe that's a role for him, coming forward, and good management again by Moyes and Irving, perhaps.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's been, I've been putting putting Masuaku. He's a bit of a masterstroke, really.
Yeah.
Not only does it free up Fornells centrally, it provides cover for Cresswell. We know that his pace has gone. We know that I'm not going to say he's lost his bottle completely, but he's a bit more hesitant going into more physical challenges ever since the injury.
Yeah.
And it's noticeable. And when he's left exposed on his own, because he's been playing with Fornells in front of him most of the last season, and Pablo isn't a defender. He's wasted there. He does a lot of running. He does a lot of work, but he's not a natural defender. So Cresswell often gets left exposed, and it shows, and teams can exploit that. With Masuaku doubling up almost, it gives teams a lot more to think about. They've got to be more creative in the way they attack us, more kind of clever. And as you said, we've hardly mentioned Cresswell's name tonight, and that is an incredibly positive sign because we're defending well. When we're under the attack, and Wolves' pace is something that's well known, we've marshalled them really well. Balbuena's had a really impressive game so far.
Yeah.
Ogbona's been very tidy. Cresswell's not been mentioned. And even Fredericks on the other side, who's often much maligned because of his lack of defensive ability, they've done all right so far, Let's keep it going. The Wolves are going to have to regroup at our time and try and think of different ways to break us down and get in behind us. So the onus is on them rather than the other way around. So the first time all season we've gone into half time thinking, you know what, we're in control. You do the running, you do the thinking, you come at us and see what you can offer. It's very rare for West Ham to do that.
Yeah, pleasantly surprising. In fact, we could say going back to before the game, not many people thought West Ham had a chance of winning this one, or didn't really have us down for a win. But here we are, 1-0 up. As I think it was Pinky who said, we could be 3 or 4 up by now. It's been a really strong performance from West Ham in the first half. No, we always felt that Wolves' biggest threat would be Adama Traore. He's been probably the most involved player, in a gold shirt tonight so far. But we've handled him fairly well, haven't we, defensively?
Yeah, I actually think that we've had more of a threat from Neto on the other side.
Yeah,
on their left, our right.
So why are we doing so well with Traore so far? What have you seen? Tactically, what are we doing better than, say, perhaps in June when we last played Wolves?
Well, Cresswell's concentrating, and
always helps.
Always helps. Which add that to the general sort of praise because he's having a decent game. He's concentrating, and we all know Arthur's defensive qualities perhaps may not be the best, but he's getting himself there, and Traore's being sort of just crowded out because he'll have Cresswell one way, he'll have Masuaku the other, and however good or bad a player he's stood right in front of you, you've got to do something, and we're going up. We're giving Neto on our left, their left-hand side, our right, a little bit more room, which and we've had a couple of crosses come in from that side. We've got to be aware on both sides, but no, I mean, I just can't fault the performance so far. Just echo what we've said so far. There have been some. Antonio has been, he's been a beast out there today.
Yeah, we've spoken a lot, haven't we, about our attacking players and how proficient and they've been so far and how effective. I just want to sort of touch on the defence, because for as well as the strikers are playing, Pinky, if the defence don't do their job, if they don't keep Traore at bay or Neto or whoever, then it makes it very, very difficult. But we've seen sort of little flashes, haven't we? We've spoken there about Balbuena and Cresswell. Masuaku, of course, you've been full of praise for so far. What about the other defenders out there today? Ogbonna, we've seen maybe make one or two decent challenges. What about Ryan Fredericks too?
Yeah, I come back to the fact that because of the shape the manager's chosen, we aren't exposing the weaker players to the same extent.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good sign of the manager saying, look, I know where the problems are. I can't go and sign 2 new fullbacks because I haven't got any money. So I'm going to play in a way that means that with essentially wing backs in front of them, coming back, doubling up, rather Fredericks being supported by Bowen dropping deeper. And we saw a great example of that in the first half where, they're working as a team. And if I was Moyes now or Irvin now, I'd be getting hold of Yarmolenko and saying, right, see what Bowen does there to help out the defence. That's what you've got to do, because the defence by themselves isn't enough to do it. And I'll be getting hold of Sebastian Heller and saying, see this bloke Antonio that's keeping out the team? Here's why. Look how hard he's working. Look at the power he's displaying. Do you really think the Wolves defenders are enjoying playing against him? Whereas if you were starting Sebastian, you wouldn't be putting yourself about, would you? So, I'm giving pretty much all of the credit tonight to David Moyes, because he's gone with the best team for the second league game in a row. And I don't particularly care who's on the bench or who's playing in the Carabao Cup games, who think they ought to be playing tonight. None of them, and I said it on, was it Tuesday or Wednesday night, Haller didn't do enough, despite his 2 goals, to justify a starting place tonight. There's got to be more than just scoring goals. And if you see what Antonio's done tonight, is more than just scoring goals. Bowen tonight, it isn't just the goal, it's his work rate up and down the flank.
Well, I think it was you pointed out, wasn't it, that fantastic run back, 70, 80-yard run to.
Yeah. And basically the manager's got some players out there who are willing to work. All of them. They're all grafting. And you go back to Moyes' first stint in charge of us, when he arrived and said, well, what's your man in China that we shipped out? So good, I've forgotten him already.
Marco Arnautovic.
Sorry?
Arnautovic.
Marco.
Arnautovic. And he said, look, what's he got to do? He's got to run. And if you look at what's going on there tonight, Antonio is running around. Bowen is running around. Fornells is running around. Souček is running around. It's old-fashioned, but it's called application. That's what you need if you're going to win in this league. You've got to work hard. And it isn't just about flicks and touches and all the rest of it. You've got to work hard, but importantly, he's got Masuaku out there, but not in a position where he's going to hurt us. And we all know he's not a left back in the traditional sense.
Yeah,
but he's causing some real problems for Wolves tonight. So I'm happy with what I'm seeing. If I had a doubt, I think it's Balbuena. If I had to finger one player tonight that's going to let us down,
okay,
Balbuena is going to drop the ball. It'll be him.
Okay, good stuff. Great summary. Half time. West Ham United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Quick look at the YouTube chat. Steve Palmer says spot on, Pinky. Haller and Antonio. Chris M says Masuaku, the best player on the park so far. Fair shout, I think, Chris. Hobo says good first half performance. Shame about the Fornells effort. Should have scored there. And Steve Palmer, again commenting on the first half, says that wasn't a bad half at all. It's fair enough. We'd all go along with that, Steve. It's decent from West Ham so far. Definitely our best 45 minutes of the season so far, although that, of course, doesn't say an awful lot. I'm kind of reminded, Noam, about the first 45 minutes against Newcastle. we didn't play too bad there. I know, you know, people kind of remembered the score and the fact that, you know, we were pretty dire after the break. But in that first half, we hit the bar a couple of times, didn't we? And we looked quite threatening, just couldn't put the ball in the net. And of course, we went out and lost the second half. We lost the second half against Arsenal, only marginally, of course. But you know, we need to be careful here, don't we? That if we are going to go on and win this one, you know, we need to be better in the second half, don't we?
We need to be as good. We need to. I mean, so far, touch wood, no really silly errors so far. Nothing. I mean, you know, we've played a couple of loose balls deep in their territory, which okay, annoying, but isn't going to hurt us. We need to make sure we keep concentrating and focused. You know, the Arsenal game where that late winner came from people switching off, not tracking their man. We need to do that for the next 95, however many minutes.
Yeah.
Plus stoppage, you know. And so it is a failing of ours of the years, and particularly though the first 15 minutes of this second half. How many times have we looked okay in the first half and then conceded early on?
Yep.
The heads have gone down. At the moment, it looks promising. We look confident. Against Newcastle, that first half, while we had chances, we were still a little bit. It was kind of like, oh, we're doing better than we thought we ought to be. We didn't look quite convincing.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas this half we have done.
Very much so.
Yeah, but more of the same. I mean, you know, Pinky's mentioned Balbuena and his worries about him. I'd say he's had a good half. One player we haven't mentioned an awful lot of, a couple of mentions, but Declan Rice has done that. Little foot in, mopping up, setting stuff off. I think I mentioned it was the goal when it came, where the foul on Antonio came where Wolves are actually in a promising position. And Rice just took a look, took the step to the side, and then just intercepted, stepped out, played it up to Antonio, who sort of got upended rather very untidily, and that's what a goal from. And Rice is back to doing that. He's been very back to his usual self so far, anyway.
Yeah, well, long may it continue, because as we said earlier, he's had a couple of sort of fairly indifferent performances, isn't he, at the start of the season? I think he pointed out the fact that, you know, his only pre-season was a couple of England friendlies or England matches anyway, and certainly not quite the same standard as you would expect in the Premier League. Rio, Noam saying, keep focused, keep concentrating, more of the same. What's key to surviving and prospering in this second half of West Ham?
I think the key is getting that next goal.
Yeah,
it's mentioned on the forum that we are desperately in need of a second. And yeah, we've got to keep up the same work rate, the same intensity, the same concentration. We have to be switched on at all times. We can't afford to let Traore get a foothold in the game. We can't afford the little kind of brain blips that we've seen on occasion, where we switch off in 1 or 2 seconds and it costs us dearly.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at the forum, someone's mentioned that had Fornells put away that chance, it would have been more non-likely disallowed because it brushed Antonio's arm in the build-up.
Oh, okay. So,
shocking miss, but we just don't think it would have counted in the first place.
We've just kicked off again, by the way.
There's a very good summing up from Aaron Hammer. He says, very good first half. Frustrating, it's only 1-0 though. We have to be more clinical. Rice and Fornells have been superb in transition, with Masuaku and Bowen being a threat down the wings. Antonio's working superbly well up top. Wolves can't handle him. Souček making those trademark runs into the box from deep. Well, Balbuena and Ogbonna have been very solid, with Cresswell doing well as too. Frederick has always also been a mix of good and bad. Fabianski has done well when he's needed to. We must get the next goal quickly and then control the game for the Wolves. Historically, they've always scored late goals against us. Maybe Moyes should stay away more often.
Interestingly, Pinky, we are, of course, underway in the second half. West Ham United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, after an excellent first half for the Hammers at the London Olympic Stadium. Pinky, a couple of people still not convinced by Fornells. Looking at YouTube chat, Hammer Mulder says, afternoon from California, take Fornells off, bring on Lanzini. And Gavin McGrath says, we need to get Anderson in for Fornells. Thoughts on that?
No, I wouldn't change anything. But playing the devil's advocate, if I were to be changing something, I'd be more likely to bring on Anderson for Fornals if Fornals was the player I was going to hook than Lanzini. And we all get a bit blinkered in our views. And my view on Lanzini is, his best days are behind him as far as we're concerned. And it's kind of like calls for him to come on at this stage are more a case of, well, we want to see the player we had 3 years ago. But we're not going to see that again. And again, I'll sing the manager's praises. He's picking the players on what he's looking at in training now, not the reputation they had 2 or 3 years ago.
Sure.
And that's the right thing to do, of course. So, Anderson might consider himself a touch unlucky. He's trying hard in the Carabao Cup games, but it just, it should be difficult to get into the team. You've got to prove that you're better than what's out there. And if what's out there is currently winning 1-0, that's hard for other players to do, isn't it? The risk we've got here tonight is Antonio runs out of steam. Can we put somebody on that's doing the same job of him at this point in time? I don't think so. And Bowen again, whether he can last the 90, or are we going to introduce Yarmolenko again and we have history repeat itself and we see the same mistake we saw last week? So,
well, we have a change coming up now. We're just coming up to 3 minutes into the second half. There were no changes at half time, but we're watching Fredericks has just pulled up and he stuck his hand up straight away. The physios came on, had a look. He's going to be unable to continue. So Johnson's coming on for Fredericks.
What are we thinking then? Hamstring?
The way the hand went up, I think it's a hamstring.
Okay.
But, it's the usual sort of signal, the way he pulled up like that. Looking very disconsolate, Fredericks, who, again, somebody else who we haven't mentioned, but wasn't having a bad game at all. But, first substitution of the game, Wolves were unchanged. And we're just about to restart with a throw-in deep in Wolves territory. Antonio's going to send it in long. Balbuena fails to get on the end of it. It's back on our halfway line. We're in possession. Oops. Got a very good chip ball forward. Goes out for a Wolves throw.
West Ham United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. The first substitution of the game. An enforced one as far as West Ham are concerned. Disappointingly for Ryan Fredericks, pulling up with what looks like a hamstring. And of course, we know that could mean anything from sort of 2 to 6 weeks on the sidelines if it isn't a bad one. So that's not particularly good news. And well, maybe it is, because maybe David Moyes can now go to David Sullivan and say, well, I've just lost Fredericks and we're in desperate need for, reinforcements there. So who knows? It could even be planned. You never know. Could be like the old McAvenny thing with, was it Mitchell Thomas? Who pretended to be injured back then, so McAvenny could come on and score his hat-trick. That was one of the questions in KUMB Mastermind actually last week, so I should remember that. Rio, Ben Johnson, done all right so far. Any worries or concerns about that one?
My only major concern for him is obviously he's up against a better class of opposition tonight, isn't he?
Sure.
And will the experience of Traore and Neto on the other side test him and put him under pressure? My only other fear is that Summer Macca 1973 is just put on the forum. We've got to change that stat from last season. Most points dropped from a winning position.
I was going to mention that actually at half time, but
well, Antonio's gone down the left here, by the way. He's played the ball far too far in front of him, but he's been taken out. Really stupid foul from Cody, who's having a nightmare against. It's just, whether or not Antonio would have got the ball, I don't know, but Cody took him out anyway, and has received a yellow card, which I believe is the first
one of the day.
Yeah, so England international Connor Cody has been given a complete run around from Antonio. So free kicks in dangerous position. It's sort of to the left-hand side of the penalty area. And I think that's Cresswell coming across to looking like taking it. He's spotting it up now as the referee walks away, having done his little bit of painting. I'll talk you through the free kick as and when it comes in.
Interesting. Just before we do that,
Bonner got on the end of it, headed over, got underneath it. Another chance though.
Another chance for West Ham, and just going back to the before the booking, Pablo Fornal was heavily involved. Once again, picked up the ball and left a very, very clever turn. Looked back towards his own goal and dropped the shoulder and completely outfoxed his marker to play Antonio in from where we, where he bought the yellow card. And, we've just had the chance for Ogbonna. So, Pinky, we always worry, don't we, about these opening 15 minutes for West Ham. We can navigate, this first third of the second half. But again, I dread to sort of,
it's not our propensity, we're doing all right. Our propensity to give away soft goals. That's the worry.
Yeah,
because
sure.
I'm not joking. 4 or 5 for West Ham wouldn't flatter us tonight on the balance of play, the chances created, and so forth. But it's only one, and that's that's the part of reality. Masuaku again, quick feet, and he's just dancing around Wolves players. Good challenge by Rice there to stop Traore before he got up ahead of steam, and Antonio back there.
Antonio's getting clattered again.
Yeah, his work rate that he's getting through here tonight. If Gareth Southgate is watching this rather than songs of praise, announcing an England squad, he would have to be putting Antonio in there. He's absolutely playing out of his skin. He's been superb tonight, Antonio.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate, really, Pinky. Was he not to be included in the last squad, because I think that was selected just after the end of last season when he bagged 10 goals or whatever it was.
And he's one of those players that the conversation always is, what's his best position?
Johnson's lost out here. They're coming down their left, cuts inside, but just overruns it.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, Pinky. Yeah, sorry, Antonio.
Yeah, Pinky.
He suffers from the what's his best position conversation. Yeah. And for my money, where Moyes has got him playing at the minute, that's his best position now. And there isn't a centre back in the league that would say, good news, I'm playing against Antonio this week. Not one. No one would want to play against him at this point in time. It is Drogba-esque in terms of who you don't want to play against at this point in time. Really good stuff.
Thank you, Pinky. Rio, who's the biggest lump out there tonight? Michail Antonio or Adama Traore?
I was going to say Pinky for a moment. I thought a bit harsh, mate, after that Frey bent or spies just there. No, it's definitely.
Pick your window.
No, it's definitely Mikel. It's his physical presence and work rate is something to behold. I mean, we said I think you just said about he suffered from what's his best position.
Yeah.
And I actually think he's evolved himself. At the start of his West Ham career, his best position for me was most certainly as an attacking wing back.
Yeah.
I used to ghost in at the far post and be excellent, but he's kind of reinvented himself into a striker. I don't think England have got anyone to kind of match him in terms of that kind of physicality and presence at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we saw at the end of last season, his finishing has improved vastly. I'm still not convinced that 9 times out of 10 he'd hit the back of the target, but he's definitely a 5 or 6 out of 10 man now. But he's just his work rate and his sheer strength and physicality. A lot of defenders in the Premier League now have never come across a lot of that before.
Yeah, you don't see that so much these days, do you? I mean, we used to. It was so common back in the day for you had the big man, little man combination. You always had a Tony Cottee, and then someone like someone a bit stronger, a bit burly going in. The Duncan Fergusons, player like that. Not around, are they anymore?
No, I mean the only one is Andy Carroll, but Antonio is lucky that he hasn't got the reputation of Carroll, because as soon as Andy goes up for a header or puts a challenge in or kind of levers himself, referees just blow up whatever. I don't care about fairness. It's, Carroll, he must have fouled somebody. Antonio hasn't got that marked reputation yet, so he gets away with a lot more, and he's a little bit more clever at times. I think Carroll's better in terms of bringing players into the game.
Yeah,
but and Mikel is not a marked man as Andy is and was and will never be for the rest of his career.
Sure. Gnome, is it time to resurrect the Masuaku song? Well, we've not heard that for years, have we? Is he better than Lukaku? What do we reckon?
I don't know about that. Wolves are just actually beginning to Well, Wolves player threw himself to the ground theatrically, but stay with me because Antonio's got the better of his defender again. Gone down the left. He's just cut back. He's waiting for support. Oh, that looked like Ham.
Oh, get in!
It's Bowen again. What do I say? Antonio got the better of his defender, played the ball across. It looked for a second like the Wolves defender stuck his hand out at it. It was outside the box, but the ball came through. Was it a Souček shot? Came back off the post.
Fornals
We're just watching now. Intelligent play from Antonio. Lovely ball across. Fornals shot came back off the post, and it was straightforward tap in for Bowen, right on the 6-yard box. Terrific stuff. Antonio started it all off. Wasn't the cleanest of shot from Fornals, but an inch this way, the keeper wouldn't have got it. And it's good stuff to see.
West Ham United 2. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Pablo Fornals involved again. Jared Bowen started the game with 1 West Ham goal in his since moving from Hull. Pinky's got 3 now. What about that?
It's that attacking unit. You know, I mean, let's praise Antonio. He did everything right. He held the ball up, waited for players to arrive, played a lovely 25-yard crossfield pass to pick out Fornals, who pulled the trigger, ball on the deck, hits the post, and Bowen doing exactly what he should be doing. Following
Antonio's on here. Just a little bit too close to the keeper.
And buries it. And this is the point I was making earlier about our attacking unit being far more effective than Wolves. And well, good stuff from West Ham. And I'd also praise again for young Pablo. When we were defending a couple of minutes ago, he was actually back doubling up, helping out in the defence. His work rate is absolutely incredible.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
And if our supporters don't give him the credit for that, well, where do we go? Because he's been terrific
Going
tonight.
Forward
really
again here. Rice has just overrun it himself, unfortunately. He had options, but took a step. He intercepted and ran forward with it, but just ran into traffic. And as I say, Wolves are coming forward now.
Okay.
But,
can we, gentlemen, if we can, I don't know if we can keep an eye out, but I'd like to know who played that ball for Antonio for the goal there, because I'm assuming it was Masuaku, but I could be wrong. But it'd be interesting to see who started that move, because it was a lovely long pass down the line for Antonio. Rio, you sort of get the feeling sometimes, don't you, that Lady Luck's smiling upon you, and I'm just sort of looking at that goal there and thinking, but the run Bowen has made. The ball come off the post, could have gone absolutely anywhere, yet it's fallen right into Bowen's feet, and he's got the easiest opportunity to convert. So, perhaps Lady Luck is smiling on the Hammers tonight. Pinky says
it's been long overdue, though, hasn't it? It has been long overdue.
Right, Mr. Editor, go straight to your room. No match of the day. There's nothing lucky about working your socks off to be right in the middle of the 6-yard box.
Don't
when
disagree.
The ball comes back, that's not luck. That's professionalism.
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the fact that the ball's come off the post and it's rebounded exactly into the area where Bowen's made the run. It's off the post another centimetre to the right. It's going over to the corner flag. You're right. Of course, you're right. It's a great run by Bowen. If you don't, if you don't buy a ticket, as they say, you can't win the lottery. And he certainly come up with a jackpot there. But I'm just saying that I think maybe it's slightly fortuitous that it's fallen in that exact position, perhaps.
All right, you can watch the opening credits of match today. You won't get to see West Ham because we're going to be on last.
Thank you. I'll take that. Rio, let's have a look at the forum and see what the reaction is to West Ham's second goal. Do you want me to come back to you, or have you?
Just give us a moment, and I will come back to you.
Okay, just a couple of questions quickly from sorry, a couple of comments from YouTube. Obviously, everyone's quite jubilant at the moment. West Ham, we said how important it'd be to keep it tight for the opening 15 minutes. We didn't expect West Ham to go out and score another goal, but that's exactly what they've done. Hobo says, get in there. David Mays singing, it looks like he's singing 2-0 to the Cockney boys. And Gavin McGrath says, there's my striker, Bowens, old-fashioned number 9 for me. That's the point we were
before you go on, Greg. Traore is being substituted.
Ooh, now there's a interesting one.
Silva's coming on to replace him. Now, he's had very little joy. The occasions he has got crosses in, there was one a few minutes ago, not that long ago, and every time he's found Ogbonna. So there's the other guy blinking, I think.
Yeah, I mean, a hugely important change there. And of course, as we said before, he's the danger man, Traore. Not tonight, he's not. Being hauled off with just over an hour gone for the young man. Looking very disconsolate as he trots off to the sidelines. It's an early bar for you, Mr. Traore, as they say. Rio, back to the forum. What have we got there, buddy?
Oh, yeah, obviously, as expected, there's a lot of jubilation. WC Pete has put, look at that. Connor Cobley's not having a lot of fun with Mike, and rightly so. And it's just a comment on the link-up play between Bowen and Fornells, and also the ball that Antonio put through. Our attacking triumvirate has been exceptional tonight in terms of work rate, ability. They've caused all sorts of problems, and the forum has been up in the air. Also, someone Boogers has put Masuaku has been brilliant today.
Having said that, Masuaku's made his first defensive lapse, letting somebody in. I can't remember who it was now on the right. Ball was played in, but we got enough people across, and it ended up coming off the Wolves player for a goal kick. But Masuaku got superb tackle. Rice just getting in, breaking up some more play there. But yeah, it was just one where Masuaku, the ball was played out and he stuck a leg out and it bypassed him a bit, allowing the guy in wide on the right-hand side.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll allow him an error or two. He's had a fabulous game so far tonight. Rio, back to the forum.
Yeah, just to finish off a little segment, because obviously, as we know, when things are going well, there's not a lot of traffic at times. But Vic Watson has put, Irving doing a great job, Moyes out.
Like that one. Well done.
Two more goals. We go top half. There you go.
I did say, didn't I, beforehand? Yeah, we win 4-0. We go above Man City.
Well, you never.
Masuaku. You've skinned your man on the flank. You've put in a beautiful cross, and it really should be West Ham United 3-0 up here now because, I mean, please just score. Someone get on the end of that and score. I mean, Arthur couldn't do any more than he's done there. Super stuff.
It's good to see not just my fellow contributors with smiles on their faces, but West Ham players playing with smiles on their faces. Masuaku, Fornells, all having a good chuckle on the pitch in the last minute or so. It's great stuff. Rio, our best performance of the season by far so far.
A million miles. And I have to say, the last three halves of football, and obviously this part, we've been pretty exceptional. We come against a tough Arsenal side last week, and we should have got something from that. Really should. And this is a decent Wolves side, and we've actually played them off the park. I'd like to point out, Pablo Fornells has been, for me, exceptional. I mean, I don't understand the stick he gets, but that move into the central position, and we tick. We look more fluid. We attack with more purpose. He's just so intelligent at times. Some of the balls he's played tonight have been really, really a joy to behold.
We have a corner, guys, by the way.
Yes, Noam, take us through it, please.
Cresswell, a corner on our left. Cresswell's lining up to take it. Ball goes in now, curled in. Oh, yes! It's a third! Oh, superb. Souček basically curled in at the near post. Souček, near post header, straight in. What can you say? Simplest goal you'll see all year. Superb.
Even Noam is lost for words. What is going on?
Much
Pinky.
more of this, and Moyes will be turning off songs of praise, and he'll have the football on. I mean, you know, it's a goal fest at the London Stadium. You know, Souček ghosting in at the near post, you know, heads it, takes a deflection, in it goes. I mean,
slight flick off the defender, but
great
Souček
stuff.
goal all day long. No worries.
Stuff.
Yeah, so just to recap, Cresswell with the corner, slinging a ball into the near post. Souček getting the header. It's taken a slight deflection off a defender, but it's that man again, and it's that danger that we pose so often.
Aren't you glad I
Souček
said, gentlemen, we have a corner?
Yes, I switched off songs of praise.
Can I just say, there was one man in midweek who said that, you know, actually we've got quite a decent team, and everyone said he was talking out of his backside. David Sullivan. Has he been vindicated, Rio, tonight?
You have to bring it down. We enjoy ourselves, don't you? Have to bring it down.
Well, no, I mean, interesting point. What, you know, he said we were unlucky. We didn't play against Newcastle. Unlucky against Arsenal. But you know, we're a decent side when we play, and we're certainly playing tonight.
That 20 million quid he found stuffed down the back of his sofa has just been rammed back in his pocket now. No, to be fair, we have got a core of decent players, and when we do turn it on, we look decent. We're a reasonable side, but we're still a side that finished 16th last year.
Yep.
We're still a side that has got obvious deficiencies that need augmenting and improving. And can you imagine how good we would be if we had them 3 or 4 players that we desperately need to improve in certain positions?
Oh,
we wouldn't
dangerous. So good ball played in, went through at the far post. The sub Silva got on the end of it, but it was just cleared away. It was a dangerous ball into that Jeffrey Boycott corridor of uncertainty there.
The corridor of uncertainty. We love the corridor of uncertainty here on the KUMB Eyes Up Mother Brown v West Ham United 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. I'd like to just briefly, I'd just like to pause to give props to Marrakesh Tall Trees, who at half-time said, I fancy Souček to grab a goal here. 2-0. You were wrong. It's 3-0 when he scored. But great stuff nonetheless. We'd all take that. Pinky, do we shut up shop now, or do we look for that 4th goal that will propel us into the top half of the Premier League?
We keep doing exactly what we've been doing all game. I'll change nothing at this point, you know, because why would we? Keep doing what we're doing. And just to pick up on 1 or 2 comments in the forum, because there's real dismay that Haller doesn't start. And you know, for my money, the reason he doesn't start and play with Antonio, for example, it's nothing to do with the options up top. It's the options at the back that's the cause of all that. And the fact of the matter is, we can't play a 4-4-2 with the fullbacks we've got at the club. Therefore, you're almost in a position where you're saying you're going with the 1 up top, although it's disguised as the 3 up top option all the time. And if it is, that's what you're going with. Haller is not going to be your central man in that case. He really isn't. And you know, so the manager has come up with a system to suit the players he has. It's that simple. And the tragedy of the chairman's comments in the week, I'm not sure he quite understands that. Seriously, you know, maybe, I don't know, if you've got his number or anything like that, Graham, you should invite him onto one of these things and we can point some of the basics of football out to him. But
I did ask for an interview. I think the last time we spoke was a few months ago, and that was at the period when he wasn't giving any interviews, so he politely declined our request. But you never know. Maybe he'll be a bit more willing to come on there. West Ham are doing well. Who knows?
Terrific tonight, absolutely terrific. And for what it's worth, I thought we were very good against Arsenal as well.
Yep.
You know, and so that's why I'm giving David Moyes so much credit. You know, he's got the best out of Masuaku, who I'm not a huge fan of, but you know, he's played well tonight. He's marshalled the resources well. Mistake there from Ogbonna. We've got plenty behind the ball. I think we'll get away with it, but just a bit too casual on the ball there.
West Ham United 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. We're inside the final 20 minutes of normal time, barring a West Ham-esque collapse. You could probably say we're looking good for 3 points here tonight. Unexpectedly, I mean, few of us gave West Ham a chance of winning. Certainly, I don't think anyone would have expected West Ham to be 3 goals to the good up against a solid Wolves side that has received loads of investment. Wolves haven't, of course, got off to the best start this season. They did beat Sheffield United 2-0 in their opening game of the campaign. Sheffield United, interestingly, bottom of the Premier League with 3 consecutive defeats to start the season with, including today what would have been a terrible defeat for their fans against their bitter Yorkshire rivals Leeds United up at Bramall Lane, a 1-0 defeat. They went down to Man City 3-1, not perhaps unexpectedly, but looks like they're on their way to another defeat tonight here. Noam, any can you
Yeah, I thought they were a little bit unlucky against Manchester City.
Yeah.
They had a spell in the second half where they had some very good chances going begging.
Yeah.
And so they're a bit unlucky there, but today they've definitely been second best in every department, and that's because we've been good. Let's not take anything away from this performance.
Yeah.
The 11 players on the pitch, or 12 if you count Fredericks, as Masuaku pulls the ball back to the edge of the box. Oh, what's happening here? Shot from the edge of the box. Basically got blocked out to Antonio, who was in an offside position, so nothing really coming of it. But no, the 12 players who've been out there today, counting Fredericks, who's unfortunately not on the pitch at the moment, to a man have played very, very well. We're looking at, I mean, Ogbonna gave the ball a bit of a loose play earlier on. Peaky said, I think that's the first time he's done. We've got more substitutions on the way. Hoover is on for Semedo, or is just about to come on for Semedo. Semedo's sprinting off, and the change is made. So Hoover was or Semedo was the lad from coming from Barcelona.
Yeah.
And
he's actually played quite a lot for Barca, yeah.
We've got another substitute as well. Moutinho's off and Vitinha is on. So,
okay.
Not sure what Vitinha's other name is, because he's not. It's one of these ones where he's got a football name on the back of his shirt as opposed to a surname.
That is, I believe, Wolves' full quota of substitutes tonight. Then, with Traore having already been replaced by Silva on 62 minutes. So, the last throw of the dice really by the visitors tonight. West Ham, of course, still only made 1 substitution, which was an enforced change. Ben Johnson coming on for Ryan Fredericks, who, unfortunately, the only sad point of the night so far. Ryan Fredericks going off with a suspected hamstring injury, which, as we pointed out, could keep him out for anything up to 6 weeks, depending on the severity of that. But we don't want to dwell on the negative so far. It's been an absolutely fantastic evening for West Ham so far. They lead Wolverhampton Wanderers by 3 goals to 0. Rio, is everyone still positive on the forum? And is everyone, are we all kind of feeling the love for Alan Irvine and his team tonight?
Pretty much. One thing mentioned, Vic Watson put, and I didn't really notice it at the time, but it's nice to see Haller and Anderson giving it large, celebrating when our 3rd went in.
Great stuff.
Phoenix 232 has put, Souček is fast becoming one of our best signings in a very, very long time.
Yep.
Does so much for the team, and that's a crazy angle to score from. If they'd been signed by one of the big clubs, people have been raving about him up and down the country. But just to bring a bit of West Ham kind of reality back, Alan Pardew's dad has put, only at West Ham can you be 3-0 up with just 20 minutes left and still be worried that we might try to throw it all away. And I can't disagree with that at times.
I don't know.
Let's get the fourth.
If you're a West Brom supporter, you might think that as well these days. But
exactly.
Yeah, extraordinary game at the Hawthorns, which I think it did finish 3-3, didn't it? In the end, am I correct?
Yeah. 95th minute, 94th minute, equaliser from Abraham, which had everybody worried that might accelerate their quest for signing certain midfield players.
And of course, not the first time West Brom have thrown away a 3-0 lead at home at half time. We seem
indeed.
The Scott Parker inspired match not so long ago when
team talk, the famous team talk.
The famous team talk, which Carlton.
And that was the last time it happened in the Premier League.
Is that right? Is that true? Well, there you go. There's another exclusive stat for
Rio
you.
Stat.
Another Rio special. Pinky,
also
we've
the
got
last decent half-time team talk Scott Parker's done as well.
I have to say, we're sitting back. Wolves are enjoying a lot of possession at the moment, but we're standing firm. That's superb from Ogbonna. It looked like just when it looked like they might get through the lines, Ogbonna stepped in and got goal side, played it back to Fabianski to clear. But as I say, Wolves are enjoying a fair bit of possession at the moment. We're having a little bit of a breather. But we're snapping into the tackle when it's available.
We are 12 or 13 minutes away from added on time or the end of regulation time. And even West Ham United lead Wolverhampton Wanderers 3-0. Maybe Alan Irvine, Pinky, perhaps thinking about making some more changes. We've got Randolph on the bench. We've got Mark Noble, Manuel Lanzini, Felipe Anderson, Andre Yarmolenko and Sebastian Haller. What do you reckon, Pinky? We're going to be looking at another sub or two, in the next few minutes, maybe?
I wouldn't. I'd leave the players out there, because you make a change now and you concede a goal, it'll be where you got the subs wrong. I'd rather take the chances with the players that have got us to a 3-0 decent position. You can see Antonio's clearly tiring. There's no doubt about that. But I just don't see a better option on the bench to do the job that he's been doing, and that's the fundamental issue. So sometimes you just got to dig deep and defend for 10 or 15 minutes. And mistake from Arthur.
Arthur needed to larrup that one clear, didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And ball's played back to the edge of the box, and a 30-yard shot goes into familiar territory. Those of you who remember Antonio of old, rather than of recent vintage.
Are we talking Rose Ed area by perchance?
Well, our ground, row A, but
we're talking Victor Urbina territory. That's how.
Goodness gracious,
yeah.
That is horrendous. But anyway, it doesn't really matter right now. West Ham cruising towards our first Premier League win of the season at the moment. It's going to take something catastrophic from West Ham's perspective to prevent that from happening at the moment. You never know; these things have happened before, but it's looking good. West Ham's solid at the moment. We just looking at the Masuaku blunder there, but fortunately the shot was as wayward as anything we've seen tonight. Rio, one more dip into the forum if we can, buddy, as we approach the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's not a lot really been mentioned. John has put Oggy really as a warrior, and Vic Watson's put how well that Balbuena's played tonight.
Yeah,
I think that's testament of how we've dealt with Wolves' attack. We've nullified them completely, really. And two pretty unsung heroes, but in particular Balbuena, who, as we said, he's been out the side for virtually a year. He stepped up to the plate today and done a marvellous job. So, yeah, it's just positivity all round on the forum, which is an absolute rarity.
We love it. We love a bit of that. No, Fabian Balbuena. Pinky, for one, has expressed his concerns about Issa Diop in recent weeks. Is this perhaps an opportunity, Noam, do you think, for Balbuena to dislodge the young Frenchman there and maybe earn a place?
Well, he's playing well. Before we go on to that, Wolves have won a corner.
Okay.
On their right-hand side. Ball comes in and it's cleared out. Ball's at the edge of the box. Low, powerful shot, but again, it's blocked to the edge of the box. That came about where Wolves actually got down their right for the first time in a long while, got the cross in, and young Silva sort of had a swing at it, and Cresswell, it was, basically arrived at the same time. Took a bit of a knock to the shin on it as well, but was given as a corner. And Wolves have just won a free kick out on the right, but it's just pottering around in midfield. But Balbuena, much improved from recent first team Premier League games anyway. I mean, he played well enough on against Hull the other night, but you know, you've got to caveat that with the strength of the opposition. But he hasn't put a foot wrong really tonight, as far as I can see.
Yeah, good stuff. We're inside the final 10 minutes. West Ham United 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. The goals coming from Jared Bowen in the 17th minute, Jared Bowen in the 57th minute, and Thomas Souček in the 66th minute. Trevor Brooking, we've just seen the shot of, and what lovely to see Sir Trevor with he looks a bit chilly, doesn't he? Poor old Trevor. Looks like he needs a bit of a cuddle, but nice to see him with a big smile on his face. We haven't seen enough of that around the ground of late. So my idol there, Trevor Brooking, an absolute superstar. We are, as I said, we're inside the final 10 minutes of the game. Still, West Ham with only one substitution. Pinky, you've said that you wouldn't change anything if you were the boss, and it looks like Alan Irvine, maybe Stuart Pearce is not actually listening to David Moyes. He's listening to you on his earphone there because the change hasn't been coming yet.
No, I can assure you, Piercy's not listening to me. That's for sure. Not even if I was sat right next to him shouting at him, he wouldn't be listening to me, and rightly so. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, the players will get fitter the longer you leave them on there, and we need a touch of that. So, for my money, I think pretty much all of us would accept that the team that's going to go and play Everton in midweek will be the one that played Hull last week.
Yeah.
So for my money, just leave it as it is. Just leave it as it is, and maybe in the last minute or two, make a change just to run the clock down. And that's the only reason I'm making changes.
Dodgy moment there. Long ball played down the left. Having said that, Antonio's got himself through. Keeper comes out. We had a little bit of a scary moment on the left there. Fabianski came rushing out to the right-hand side of his goal as Silva was bearing down.
Yeah.
Silva got a toe to it. Fabianski made the save and managed to just stay inside his box as he did that. Similar thing, just went straight up the other end. And Antonio nearly got on the end of a long ball. Again, keeper did well to come out and block that. So as Wolves are still building forward on the edge of our box, they've had a good 10-minute spell of sort of pressure without really sort of looking penetrating, if that's the word. And again, another low cross comes in, and again, it's clear. Wolves are looking like us when we didn't have a clue late on against Newcastle.
Yeah.
When we were sort of chasing the game, and it was, that's what we look like.
Yeah, fair point. That's a good point, actually. No, I totally agree with you there. Rio, let's talk about our goalkeeper again. We spoke about him in the first half. As we said then, he's been rarely called upon. It's pretty much a similar story in the second half. But once again, as Noam was just talking about there, when called upon to come out and rush out of his goal and make that challenge on the edge of the penalty box, there he was to do that and make a very vital interception. He's having a good game, isn't he, tonight, Fabianski?
Yeah, as we said, like, not much to do. But when he does come out and he commands his box like that, it does bring a real reassuring presence to our defence. We saw how badly we were affected by the whole Roberto debacle.
Yeah.
And it seemed to affect Fabianski a little bit as well, because he was very unsure towards the end of last season. A bit shaky at times, but tonight he's dealt with everything incredibly efficiently. And if that brings a bit more calm to their central defence, all the better. Just looking, that apparently Souček's goal's been given as an own goal to him by Jimenez now.
Really?
I don't think so. That was going in without that. Steward's inquiry on that one.
Yeah, it's done my fantasy team up and all. Not happy about that.
Actually, interesting.
Someone on the panel's got own goal, haven't they? As a bet.
Yeah, you'd think so.
It's the chairman. He's delighted that he'll have saved a £2,000 goal bonus.
It just cut to a shot of someone dancing a jig in the director's box. I don't know who it was. He had a Russian hat on. It's quite small.
Cossack dance.
Who could that possibly be? Who knows? Answers on a postcard, please. West Ham United 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Pinky, we spoke about Jared Bowen, Michail Antonio in the first half, Fornals being our stronger players. Who stood out for you since half-time, buddy?
Oh, since half-time, I think Rice has been decent since half-time.
Yeah.
He's made some very valuable interventions. I think Masuaku in the opposition's half has been dangerous, but I think he's been equally dangerous in our half in many ways. But you know, the fear expressed it half an hour ago was the front three running out of steam. I think they pretty much ran themselves into the ground in the first half, and you know, it's just we don't have the options on the bench. We saw what Yarmolenko did last week.
Yeah,
David Moyes, you're going to risk that? I don't think so.
Neto has just snapped onto a loose ball, burst forward at the space at the edge of the box, and put a shot good 4 or 5 feet over the top, but it was a little bit closer than some of the other efforts.
No.
We have a substitution coming up.
we have a sub. We have a sub. Who's it going to be? No,
Mark Noble and Haller. We've got 2 subs
double
coming
change.
On. And we'll just see that everybody's playing with their iPads there. So let's see who the people who've earned themselves a few minutes off are in a second. Play still continues, and Antonio's just run into traffic, but the ball comes through to Rice, plays it out wide to Johnson. Johnson's looking for options, but plays it back inside to Rice. And still now with Johnson, who chips it down the line to Souček, who plays it back out to Rice. He's out on the right wing. Not sure he appreciates being out there, but he's been hemmed in, and we've earned a throw in. And I think this may well be where the substitutions are made.
Okay, well, we're making those changes. Let's just quickly cut in. Noam, who's your outstanding player of the second half? Very quickly.
Rice, and I'd like to throw in a little vote for Cresswell there, because the substitutions are anyway just up to Antonio's coming off for Haller, and Noble's coming on for Bowen, so they're just going to shore up a little bit of in the middle there. But Cresswell's had there was a little incident a couple of minutes ago where a cross went in, and the Wolves player had come back from an offside position, but Cresswell wasn't to know that, and quickly got across, and as the ball came back, got an interception in. And I just thought, that's the sort of thing you've been doing most of the game. So not spectacular, not the sort of thing where you say, oh, what a storm he's had, but he's been quietly doing his job there. Bowen and Antonio came off at the far side, so they're just walking around the touchline together. And but we still got the ball. That's Souček plays the ball down the line to Haller, who's basically just lost it.
Okay, no worries. So that is everyone's full quota of substitutions. Wolves have made all 3. West Ham now have made their 3. Rio, your standout player of the second half, please. What do you think about? We've seen Rice suggested by Pinky, Cresswell by name. Do you go along with that, or has someone else caught your eye?
I'm going to give it to one of two of our 3 forwards. Sorry, I think Fornells has been excellent. He's obviously tailed off a little bit since we got the 3rd. Yeah. But for that first 15, 20 minutes, he was playing some marvellous balls around. Again, another assist. Unlucky not to get the goal himself. It's just incredibly intelligent and fast thinking. But I think mainly Antonio, because his bullish nature has really unsettled Wolves' defence tonight. And it's been made all the difference. I mean, I've been critical of him in the past, but tonight he's really proved that kind of striker in the right team can really unsettle a top-class defence. Yeah. Let's not forget that Connor Cody just been called up to England squad and won his first cap not so long ago.
Yep.
And he's been made to look a bit of a mug tonight. He's been made to look like it's a bit men against boys, really, because he's just been physically dominated by Antonio. And that's made a massive difference. It's allowed the front 3 tonight to flow, and it's created space, his work chances. He's just worked his nuts off, and you can't ask for more than that as a striker.
Been phenomenal. Thanks, Rio. We're coming into added on time now at the end of the game.
Minutes.
Still West Ham United 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Noam pointing out there that we've got 4 minutes added on. Quick hellos to Neil Carr. Neil, good to see you on the stream, buddy. Hope you're well. Hope the family's well. Aaron also. Aaron says, I had us to win 1-0. Not sure about that one, Aaron, but anyway, if you did, congratulations, because there weren't many supporters expecting West Ham to win, especially not 3-0. And fantastic stuff, isn't it? Thoughts turning to overall man of the match now. Pinky, Declan Rice for you in the second half, maybe one of the forwards in the first half. Overall, who's sort of taken the most?
Antonio. Antonio's been the player that's made the biggest difference tonight, because Wolves just couldn't handle him. But an honourable mention to Pablo Fornals as well, who just for his work rate has been he's been superb. But that front three, the unit of Bowen, Antonio and Fornals, has completely outshone the Wolves equivalent. And the centre of that is Antonio, and they just could not handle his power, his pace. His touch tonight has been excellent. He's given his best performance for a little while since he scored 4 against Norwich. So Antonio would be my man of the match tonight.
Good stuff. Thank you. No, we've just discussed. You said Rice really second half, maybe. Sorry, Cresswell second half. What about overall? Who's sort of stood out for you?
Antonio all day. He's just been superb. Yeah. I can't really add anything to that. I mean, he drew a yellow card out of Cody early in the second half, and Cody was just terrified of him. Haller's got the ball wide out on the right-hand side. He turned inside, little ball in towards Souček, doesn't quite get there, but Rice picks it up on the edge of the box. He's played it out left to Arthur Masuaku. And
4-0, get in.
Masuaku crosses. Haller just stands there, looks like one of those little nodding duck toys, nods it into the corner. 4-0. We go bad Man City. Said we would.
It's Pablo 4-0 to West Ham United here against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Pinky, what about this? We've done it. We've got that 4th goal we talked about.
Yeah, absolutely, and been worth every single one of them. And over the 90 minutes, 6-0 wouldn't have flattered us. We've been that good tonight. We really have been terrific tonight. We've been a joy to watch. And do you know what? We've been so good. I might even phone the ticket office tomorrow and say, don't refund me tonight's money, because I actually feel I've been entertained. I mean, watching it at home, it's never the same. But, fabulous from West Ham United tonight. Absolutely fabulous.
I think I'm going to call up the ticket office and say, refund me Pinky's money as well, because I'm saving up for a new car.
Rio, Arthur Masuaku had a really good night. It's one of those typical crosses, but it's where Haller's strongest, isn't it? In the air. It's we saw a similar goal the other night where he sent the header back the way it came into the far corner. It's a lovely finish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a pinpoint cross, which Arthur did a couple of times against Arsenal, and where no one really capitalise. This time, Haller doesn't have to do a thing, does he? Just stands there so nonchalantly and just nods it back across the keeper. Again, an incredibly well-worked goal, simple but beautiful. This kind of performance has been kind of, I wouldn't say long overdue, because obviously we had the one at Norwich, but it's a delight, isn't it? It's been an absolute delight tonight.
Amazing. And interestingly, it's West Ham United's 3rd 4-0 win in 2020. We started the year, of course, beating Bournemouth 4-0 in David Moyes' first game in control. Alan Irvine, meanwhile, on the bench, can't contain his delight. I mean, he's smiling. We have, I was just going to say, 3rd 4-0, beat Bournemouth 4-0, beat Norwich 4-0, and we've beaten Wolves 4-0. It's the final whistle, Noam. What a night for West Ham United FC.
I would say that's the first 4-0 win against a team that's still in the same division as us. But absolutely superb performance all round. Well played players and management. I don't think you can knock any of it. There's nobody there that you'd say, well, he had a little bit of an off day. No, superb. We've one of the better teams in the league, and they've impressed me over the last couple of seasons, and to take the game to them like that and win 4-0, and we weren't flattered by that. That's just superb. It looks like we've kind of alighted on a setup, a lineup, tactical lineup that seems to suit the players. The players are happy with it. What can you say? Well played, guys. Well played.
West Ham United 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. The Final score, an incredible result, really, from Stratford tonight, Pinky. We certainly weren't expecting that, were we?
Oh, no, I predicted it all day long, obviously, and backed it, plus the timing of the goals. No, we weren't expecting it. And, because Wolves have had a bit of the Indian sign on us for the last couple of years. But, they had spells in the game. They had 2 spells in the game where they looked quite good. But overwhelmingly, we dominated that match. We were by far the better going forward. Unquestionably, the manager's come upon a system that suits that particular group of players. I'm not sure it particularly suits the squad, which is why I think we'll see wholesale changes again in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
But they've done what they've had to do tonight: win well, win convincingly, with the top half of the table in a run of fixtures. Let's not forget that the corresponding fixtures next year we didn't take a single point from, and here we are. We played very well against Arsenal last week. We've absolutely demolished Wolverhampton Wanderers tonight. 3 points, job done. Well played, West Ham.
It is. Here's a stat for you. It's West Ham United's first 4-0 win against Wolverhampton Wanderers since May 1990. On that particular day, we smashed Wolves in front of 22,509 spectators. That's 22,504 more than's there tonight, I think, with goals from Kevin Keane after 18 minutes, Trevor Morley on 39, Robson on 47, and the star himself, Liam Brady, scoring the 4th goal 2 minutes from time. My notes say Liam Brady bids farewell on a sun-kissed afternoon with a late goal that prompts the friendliest of pitch invasions. Who was there that day, Rio?
Yeah, it's one of my favourite games, actually. I used to have a VHS of it. That was the last game before the Italia 90. And, when Brady scored in the last minute, he ran the walls a chicken run, but the chicken run the walls in a little bit quicker. Yeah, it was a great day out, that one. Absolutely great day.
Cracking stuff. The last time, as I say, West Ham beat Wolves 4-0. We've got to go back 30 years for that one. Hopefully, no, it won't be another 30 years before we're celebrating a night like tonight.
I hope so. I mean, that'll put me nearly in my 90s. But no, we've just got Bowen being interviewed at the moment, and he's praising everybody at the back for the clean sheet. And he's being asked about the transfer window. Not the most intelligent piece of interviewing, is it? Asking a player in the team whether or not Declan Rice is going to.
I mean, it just cried out to say, "I want to go to Chelsea as well." I mean. But
yeah, I mean, and understandably beaming Bowen there, who's got the biggest grin on his face. And quite rightly, he said, well, we want Declan Rice to stay, but it's not for us players to be commenting on transfers. Certainly not straight after a match. I think Mark Noble might have something to say about that in general. But yeah, as I say, I can't get over how well they played. More power at their elbow. As I say, we didn't play badly against Arsenal, just that lapse of concentration at the end, which cost us. And and that's not just claret and blue tinted spectacles. Most observers, when you looked at paper the next day, were agreeing that. So, there's obviously a nub of something there. Of course, things don't get any easier. We're at Leicester next weekend, and so hello, Stephanie, if you're watching. One of my work colleagues who's a big Leicester fan. But just looking at the league table now, and there we are, top half. Looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks much more impressive than it did before the game, Pinky, when we were sat there amongst the other clubs without a single point on the table. We did, of course, say, didn't we? We knew West Ham had a really, really difficult start to the season. But we said West Ham, being the club we know they are, the club that we've all followed for all these years, we knew there was a surprise in there somewhere. And this certainly is, maybe not the fact that we've picked up points, but certainly beating Wolves by 4 must be considered as a bit of a surprise for everyone else in the league.
It's the performance as much as the result. and that's two very good league performances in a row. You know, I'm ignoring the midweek game because fundamentally it's a different side and completely different opposition. But even our harshest critics would say that last week against Arsenal, you know, that was the right result. It wasn't the right result last week. We deserved at least a point, and I would argue we deserved to win that game last week. Tonight, we absolutely got what we deserved because we were more positive in the areas of the pitch that really mattered. We were more clinical in the areas of the pitch that mattered. And I just felt we looked a better team tonight than Wolves.
Yeah,
and the emphasis on the word team, you know, no question about it. The manager, you know, you imagine going to see David Sullivan and saying, Mr. Chairman, I'm leaving the club record signing on the bench again. I'm going to leave the second most expensive in the club's history on the bench again. And just to really put the cherry on the bakewell, I'm going to leave Yarmo on the bench as well. Yeah. And, you know, and the chairman is going to be sat there doing his nuts. But the manager, the football professional of the club, that actually understands the game, has gone with the right setup to win a game of football. It's not about pleasing the chairman or even pleasing the supporters per se. It's about winning football matches. And he's done it tonight. 4 goals. I mean, this thing where David Moyes is just Mr. Negative. Really? Really?
Could I just point out something a little, almost like a Rio stat? We now have a positive goal difference.
Well, there's a stunner. That doesn't happen often. Of course, that has only happened once come the end of the season since 1985-86 when West Ham United finished third in the Slaven Bilic season. I believe we finished on about +6 or 7, didn't we? Someone I'm sure will correct me if that's wrong, but it was definitely only once since. Rob Brown Rob Young. Rob has pointed out that we did hammer Wolves in the 70s as well. In 1974, it was actually the 16th of November. West Ham beat Wolves 5-2 at the Bowling Ground in front of a slightly larger crowd than the other previous 4-0 one, 31,708 there that day. It was a game where Trevor Brooking had a hand in all 5 goals, in fact. Billy Bonds scoring one from the penalty spot, Brooking adding one of his own, Jennings and Lampard also on the score sheet for West Ham. I think Bobby Gould scored as well that day. West Ham smashing Richards. Was it Richards you mentioned earlier on? No?
Yeah.
Richards actually scored on that
season,
day.
Yeah, that particular season, as I recall, we started really terribly.
Yeah.
And then I think there was Ron Greenwood quietly sort of renamed himself general manager.
Yeah.
Handed over the reins to John Lyall without actually telling anybody on the board. And I think might have signed, might have been when we signed Keith Robson. But suddenly we started scoring for fun. We went through a spell of we got 20 goals in about 5 games.
Well, we also beat Burnley 5-3 and Leicester 6-2 a few weeks before that.
Leicester, I remember that one.
So yeah, we were definitely scoring. And interestingly, that night, the game we're talking about, that Wolves game, November 1974, the bowling crowd was singing "Brooking for England, West Ham for champions," apparently, according to my records. It's been a long time.
We ended up with a cup.
Yes, West Ham actually went on to finish 13th that year, so not quite champions, but one of those other famous wins against Wolves anyway. Rio, what a fantastic night for West Ham. We've scored 4 goals tonight, but for you, which was the best one of them all?
By far the first one. Excellent quick thinking by Fornals, but the finish by Bowen was majestic. Someone pointed out in the forum, it was virtually 4-on-1. Yeah. But he just took it so calmly. It was Yarmolenko-esque, as someone else also put it. The way he just held it into the far corner.
Very similar to the Chelsea goal, wasn't it? Yeah, very similar. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they showed an angle on the TV from behind the goal, and you just watch the ball arc into the back of the net, and it's one of them goals you just sit back and just admire.
Yeah,
it's just quick thinking, great skill, great finish. Just a shame we're not there to admire it, really.
Yeah, very much so. Pinky, no, would you go along with that? The first goal was the outstanding effort of the evening.
Yeah, I think I would, because very often it's the goal that makes the difference anyway. And So there's a bit more, there's less pressure when you're 3-0 up, banging a simple header, than having to actually bury the ball when it's 0-0. And for me, there, 4-0s. Take the quick free kick, see the opportunity, have the confidence to play the ball, Bowen to receive it well, and just finish. It's super stuff. Arguably the tap in from Bowen for his second, because it was more of a team effort. But you're not going to get too many outstanding goals when all you've done is tap it in from 6 yards, if you get my drift. But all the goals tonight, very happy with what I've seen tonight, and I'll be interested to read the form over the next day or two to see who really gets the credit for this. Where's the credit coming up? I've already seen the joke doing the rounds that Karen Brady has asked David Moyes to stay in isolation to the end of the season. But it's starting to irritate me a touch. What does the man have to do to win some of our support over, even a little bit, just a little bit? Cut the guy a bit of slack. And we're in danger as a group of supporters of destroying managers unfairly. The guy's doing okay at the moment.
Yep. Totally agree. And we'll come to that in a minute, actually, Pinky. Gnome, before we do so, Gnome, your favourite goal of the night? Go along with that one?
Definitely the first. Just because quick thinking, and it was the best finish. I mean, all 4 goals. I'm not going to turn down any goals at all, but I've just got on the background. I'm just keeping an eye on the interviews that are happening. They've got Joe Cole and Peter Crouch, or Little and Large, as we've got there. It's sorry, just stood.
You wouldn't want to be the cameraman on that one, would you? On that particular interview.
But they've made the point, which I think to a degree they've got a point. Insofar as they've said that Wolves came with the sort of attitude of someone who we've beaten this lot quite easily, quite a lot, and they came into the game sort of almost as if they'd had it won. There was an element of that, but I think that sort of it does us a bit of a disservice, I think, in a way, because we didn't let them settle.
No.
And
well, we saw that, didn't we, with Traore? I mean, that was the big change, wasn't it? The man we were all really concerned about pulled off after, when did he have 62 minutes he lasted? Just so ineffective. West Ham tactically aware of what was going on there, set up by Moyes to nullify that threat, and did it brilliantly. He did a fantastic job.
And I mean, we're talking the goals, they're just showing again the Fornals tap in, and that ball, I think, was Rice played down the line. We were trying to look for that. It looked like
Rice. Was Rice, was it?
Yeah,
thank you.
Cresswell, I think.
Was it Cresswell? It may have been Cresswell, yeah. But noticeably, Antonio had basically got away from Cody, and Cody was petrified. Cody would, whereas 10 minutes earlier, before the yellow card, Cody would have probably taken Antonio out, might have hauled him to the ground or something.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to do, and that was because he'd been bullied all the way through the game, and that was Antonio reaping the benefits of all his hard work earlier on in the game.
I noticed, Gnome, that they're still showing replays of the first goal, and we're now down to VARS kind of frame by frame movement to prove that the ball was not completely dead. But
when you slow it down that much, I mean, the point is, when he kicks it, he kicks it between what would have been the next frame, if you like, if it had moved on the next frame. But when you watch it in real time, I defy anyone to be able to actually say that hadn't stopped. It looked like it had stopped in what we've got. We've got eyes that see things in real time, and they're still trying to take that goal off Souček. I reckon that was going in the far corner.
I totally agree. I mean, that's a Souček goal. Surely that's going in.
No. We need to save the money. That's a Wolves' own goal, and in aid of the academy. We're going to save £1,000 in aid of the academy.
Oh, that means we might get a coach. We might get a plane with free food on it when we go up to Everton. Then
Good Lord, they're pushing the boat out now. Few comments from the YouTube chat while we're chatting. The Food Master says apparently this is Wolves' biggest PL Premier League defeat since 2012, having lost 5-0 against Manchester United. There you go. Lawrence Salmon says the board can't perform well. Thank God the players can. Dave Evans says, Pinky, I see you still have not had that boomerang ejected yet. But Dave, it's bringing us good luck, this thing. We're on form. The boomerang stays, I think. We can't get rid of the boomerang. Well, you couldn't get rid of it anyway, because if you threw it away, it would only come back, of course. Matt Hawkins said, Antonio bullied that back line tonight. Matt Hawkins says, what worries me is you boys not drinking. On the lime, look, on the lime and water over here. I think there's a couple of jars down. Pinky's on the sauce. Look, Pinky and Rio. Look, there you go. On the hard stuff. There you go. So a bit of alcohol being consumed by some of the team anyway. Antos Ladamatos says, if not Moyes out, definitely virtual. Fair point. He's done a good job from home tonight, hasn't he? Gavin McGraw, interesting point. Haller's protest celebration was typical. I could have scored that. Who should we leave out to accommodate his ego, Antonio or Bowie? Just picking up on that, Pinky. That sort of strike you as a protest celebration. The kind of silent stance didn't really
Yeah,
seem
and it struck me as that at the time, and I wasn't impressed with it. At the end of the day, if you're going to be a professional footballer, you've got to earn the right to get the starting 11, and if you've not done enough to do that, well, don't be Captain Sulkhead when you do finally get on the pitch and score a relatively straightforward goal. If you're so unhappy that you're not willing to celebrate scoring for West Ham, go see the manager tomorrow, put a transfer request, and say, move me on. I'm sorry, but I'm not having that. We've had a terrific team performance tonight.
Yep.
And I'm not having any player just saying, well, because I'm not playing. Please, we don't need that. We don't need that. I'm sorry, that's not good enough. If he wants to play every week, well, we told him last week what he's got to do. Put himself about a bit more. Show some energy. Bully the defenders like Antonio was. That's how you get in the starting lineup. Not sitting there with your bottom lip sticking out, going, "Woe is me. I'm only on 50 or 60 grand a week and I can't get to play on a Sunday night." That's not going to impress anybody. It's certainly not impressing me.
Interesting.
Just interject on that point now. Obviously saw a lot more of him in the flesh last season, obviously at the start of last season. But has he ever really sort of gone to town on a celebration? Could we not be just doing him a little bit of a disservice here? As far as every goal I think he's ever scored, he's sort of just turned around and walked away from.
Well, look, doesn't this come back to what we were saying about Freddie Canute?
Running along
kind
the
of
corner
Mardy
and
sort
going
of
down on his
thing going
knees.
on.
I mean, to be fair, Noam, you've got a point. I mean, I've spent the whole weekend listening to Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. So in terms of misery, I'm right up there at this point in time. Okay, I really am. I'm at the edge of true miserableness, but I reckon Haller's outdoing me. But he has done for the last couple of years. So maybe it's just a perma feature with him. But, couldn't he just fake a smile? Just be happy with the team and then go back into the change room and say, I hate you all. Just hate them all in private.
Pinky, we seem to have lost Noam momentarily. I hope he'll be back very soon. He's completely disappeared, but
he's looking for his Nick Cave CDs in back behind him.
Rio, is that we said this last week, didn't we? The similarities between Haller and Freddie Canute, that kind of Mardy French. That's probably a little bit unfair and probably a little bit racist. So I should probably backtrack on that one. Just maybe a Mardy striker thing, and a thing about tall strikers rather than French strikers in particular. But we sort of you know, mentioned that similarity, didn't we, between him and Canute and the kind of, you know, dour expression a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I don't suppose he's happy. He's not in the first team on a regular basis. But let's just point out 2 cup games and tonight's little cameo, 5 goals. He's doing his end of the bargain at the moment. But if he'd have watched carefully our front three tonight, he's got a lesson to learn in work rate, application, cleverness. Can't get the word out. You know, that our front three tonight were just immense, you know. And he's got to force himself past that. It's all well and good having a big price tag, bit of attitude. He needs to show that when he's called upon, he's going to get the goals and get the goals on a regular basis, not just against flat track bullying in the cup and little cameos like tonight, you know. He can't expect to walk into the team based on the price tag. Antonio tonight, absolute destroy Connor Cody. He absolutely bullied him. And I've never seen Haller do that yet. I like Haller. I think he's got something about him. But in the system we play, as we've seen, he doesn't fit. And he doesn't fill the role that Antonio does with the physical presence, the non-stop work rate, and the general link-up play, you know. Haller's more of a, dare I say it, more of a fox in the box rather than the bullish kind of bully that we really need, roughing up defences and creating a space for Bone and Fornells. They're 2 different players completely. And at the moment, in the situation we're in, Haller doesn't feel the brief of what we require. I hope he comes good. I just don't think at the moment he's got a lot of work to do to kind of force himself in front of Miko.
Good stuff. And I'm not sure on that, Shane Rio, whether anyone would be inclined to disagree, really. Gnome is temporarily unavailable. He says there's a connection issue. We do hope to get Gnome back very soon. Pinky, sorry, over to you, buddy.
Yeah, because I mean, look at the teams, you know, in the Premier League now. You know, you're the chairman and you're sat there by the phone tirelessly 18 hours a day trying to sell some of our players. And your phone's going to ring tomorrow. Do you think the chairman's going to receive an inquiry for Haller tomorrow or Antonio? Because if I was another Premier League manager, I'd be looking, you know, I'd be thinking, you know, he's in his 30s, but maybe a cheeky bid for Antonio, you know, hasn't got long left in his contract.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, very valid.
You know, and just maybe another club might be on the phone saying, here's 30 or 40 million quid for Mikael. And the chairman would there go, well, don't really want to lose him. Any chance you could take Seb Haller instead? And they'll be, oh, no, I don't think so. Moving swiftly along. And yeah, Haller, when he first arrived, I genuinely thought we'd got the real deal. I really did. And I'll put that on the forum. I said, we've got the real deal here. He's a good player. And it's just kind of disintegrated into a nothing kind of contribution. And that must seem really harsh when he scored, what was it? I think Rio's just said 5 goals in recent games. But it's who against, at what stage of the game, and does he show the willingness to be the player that's going to get in the bathtub at full time and say, my ankles ache because, do you know what? I've been kicked off the park. My knees ache because they've been absolutely sticking into me. Every part of me hurts. Mikel Antonio's getting in the bath tonight. That's what he's saying. Sebastian Haller, be a quick shower and on his toes. And it would be the same if he'd played 90 minutes. And that's the point.
Yeah, very, very valid point. So we're just, while we're talking there, Pinky, we're just seeing some of the big tackles that West Ham produced tonight to nullify Adama Traore and Wolves' attack. And it was that sort of game where, I mean, Pinky pointed out, of course, the fact that every player put in a shift tonight, and it was a real team effort out there. Once again, we've gone with that. Before I continue, we've just had Alan Irvine doing a brief interview with BT Sport. I don't know if anyone caught that. I didn't. I don't know if anyone got it. No,
I did. While you were banishing me.
Okay, give it to us, buddy. What did Mr. Irvine have to say about that?
Obviously, very, very pleased with both the performance and the result, rightly so. Yep. The main comments were that everybody did their job, and which is quite right. That was the main thing. He said he was, if anything, slightly disappointed we didn't get more.
Okay.
He was asked about transfers, obviously, because he's on the management. He played a straight back to that one. He gives his opinion on players, but he's not involved in any way, shape, or form. And obviously, every manager wants to strengthen their squad at every window, and David Moyes is no exception. Was the comment. Asked about Declan Rice, he said Declan's very, very happy at the club. You've seen the performance he put in tonight, and he trains very, very well. So those are the edited highlights from that.
Okay, good stuff. Good to see some. Sounds like a very professional interview, actually, doesn't it, from the manager? A couple of comments coming up from YouTube. Of course, good to see some more of you joining us since the full-time whistle went a few minutes ago, or actually a little bit longer now. But do let us know what you thought of the game on chat, and also on the match thread on the KUMB.com forum. A few comments being made. Gavin McGrath says, superb point, Pinky. Would I take Haller instead of Antonio? No, no, no. Truth, lol. Mandy Gould says, Masuaku, the left-wing version of Messi. Not sure about that one, Mandy, but loving the optimism anyway. We'll take that. Chris Bowen, as much as some have a go at Moyes, fair play. He's stuck with a side that played well against Arsenal, probably against many who thought the team in midweek should have been given a chance. And fair point, Chris, isn't it? We saw a lot of people on the match thread before the game on the KUMB forum suggest that Haller, or especially Yarmolenko, lots of calls for Yarmolenko to be involved after his performance against Hull City in midweek, when he scored 2 and provided 2 more assists. I don't know where I'm going now. I'm completely lost, actually. Rio, I'm going to come to you in that case. Actually, before we do that, Rio, Pinky's got his hand up. Pinky's got something to say.
Just picking up on Alan Irvin's comments there from Nome.
Yes.
About Declan Rice, saying that he's played well tonight and he's training very well and he's happy at the club.
Yeah.
That kind of puts the chairman in an awkward position, doesn't it? Because the sort of the go-to default position is, well, if a player wants to leave, what can you do? Yeah. So Irvin's kind of closed that particular corridor of uncertainty down. So now the player's very happy at West Ham. He's played well and he's training well. So when the chairman receives a phone call this week from another London club saying, here's a derisory offer, let's hope the chairman is listening to Alan Irvin more than he is the bank manager. Yeah, and has the strength to say, we can understand why you'd be interested in our player, but he's training very well, he's playing very well, and he's very happy at West Ham.
And he's very happy.
Nothing else to talk about. Goodbye.
Well, I mean, I've said all summer, I think I'd be very surprised if Declan left the club this year, and especially now that Grady Diangana has been sold, and of course the chairman is very aware. I think it's fair to say of the fallout from that particular deal, which of course didn't go down very well. Rio, the KUMB forum match thread, still lots of comments coming in, presumably from some very, very happy hammers tonight.
Yeah, unanimously delirious. What's interesting is I picked up that the man of the match has been spread around throughout the squad.
Always a good sign, that, isn't it?
Yeah, WTID, one of the man of the match for me. A rock at the back tonight. Everyone put in a shift. For me, Moyes still makes subs too late, even when we are winning comfortably. Antonio, this is Essex Iron. Antonio, man of the match. But everyone played well. I know he got 5 minutes, but I thought Hannah actually looked like he was trying for a change. Closing down, looked mobile, and made a run behind for Noble pass over the top. Keep up for more than 5 minutes, we can start trusting him. Balbuena's got a mention. There's a mention of Fabianski from someone who put he made a very key save at a very precarious position for us. So that kind of kept us in the game.
Yeah.
It's very rare that in a 4-0 win, we get a lot of praise for defenders as well as the forward three. You know, Balbuena's had a mention, Ogbonna. There's been a lot of praise for Cresswell and Masuaku as well. It's really good to see that no one's singling out any one player. Everyone's put in the shift and everyone's getting a bit of credit for it.
Yeah. Good to see. We are seeing Nuno Espirito Santo being interviewed by BT Sport at the moment. Noam, if you can keep an eye on that one for us, buddy.
He's just finished here.
Okay. Let's go to
very
that now. What did he have to say?
Very disconsolate, and really not much to say. He said they were poor defensively. Every time West Ham went on the attack or on the counter attack, there was a situation. He was asked again about transfers. Is this something that he'd be looking to the transfer market for? He said no. He said our problems need sorting out from within. He didn't really comment on the free kick. Had it stopped? Was it moving? Thing. He said the referee wanted to allow quick free kicks, and that we weren't organised, and that's where the goal came from. He didn't really say much, to be honest. It's one of those ones where you got the Alan Partridge interview. You lost today. Why? And what do you expect the guy to say? So, but
no surprises then, really.
Yeah. So,
do let us know, guys, what you think of your man of the match. We've spoken about how on the KUMB.com forum match thread, there's Rio said there's an awful lot of different choices being thrown up from throughout the team. The goalkeeper, who did particularly well when called upon, didn't have a lot to do, but was on hand whenever needed. From the defence, Fabian Balbuena, his first start. Masuaku, Cresswell, of course. These players who have been given an awful lot of criticism stepped up to the plate tonight, put in a really good shift, did really, really well. And of course, Jared Bowen going from 1 West Ham career goal to 3 on the night. Michail Antonio, the pretty much unanimous choice of the team here tonight for man of the match. But I'm sure you might have something different to say and for other reasons. So let us know on the match thread on the KUMB.com forum, or also in the chat on YouTube, where a whole load of you are joining us right now. We shall continue for a bit longer, basking, in fact, in the wake of this quite extraordinary victory for West Ham United, one which, I wonder, can we look retrospectively at the odds to see what a 4-0 win would have been? I don't know if there's any way we can do that. Not being a gambling man myself, I wouldn't know where to start, but I don't know if someone knows how and where we could do that, even if someone on the chat knows what the odds were on a 4-0 home win tonight. It'd be interesting to know, just to see, if the bookies were with us on that one and thought there was no chance.
Don't use Sendo's bookmaker, whatever you do. Yes,
indeed. When the fun stops, go and support Wolves, as they say. But good stuff. A brilliant victory for West Ham tonight. So Nuno Espirito Santo, not particularly happy, as you would expect. His expensively assembled team just been absolutely smashed off the park by West Ham United, who haven't spent a single penny. David Sullivan will no doubt be a happy man tonight. He told us we had a team and that they could play, and they've certainly gone out and done it. A good performance for West Ham. Where do we go from here, Pinky? Of course, we know we're going to Everton in about 48 hours' time, but let's ignore that one for the meantime and look ahead to next week's game. Another really, really tough game, probably even harder next week against a Leicester side who've just gone to Manchester City and smashed them off the park, putting 5 past Pep Guardiola's side. What do we do? Do we go with a similar lineup for that one?
I think we've got to. I mean, I think we've almost got to the point of the manager deciding this is the system, who's the best players to fit in that system, and that's your starting 11. That's where we are.
Yeah.
So for my money, Leicester won't be easy, that's for sure. But just looking at their starting 11 today, they left Maddison on the bench. And that's a player that I think almost all of our support would have taken him at the time he joined them from Norwich.
Yeah, for sure.
So they're a pretty strong outfit. Do I see us beating Leicester 4-0? No, I don't. But one thing's for certain, we can approach the game with a lot more confidence after a 4-0 win. And if we get turned over, do you know what? It's not the end of the world. Losing tonight and losing next week, you're approaching the end of the world.
Yep.
But a win doesn't have to take some pressure off. And I think that's really important. I know you want to skip over the midweek game, but it's Everton. It's a cup game. And what we'll really see midweek are the problems we've got as a club in terms of squad depth. Because what we send out as our second string, forget the price tag. The guys that will turn out on Wednesday are the second string now. So whether they cost £10 or £100 million is irrelevant. They're the ones that can't get in the league setup. I think they'll struggle like hell against Everton midweek. And that's the real challenge in terms of where we go now, because if the chairman wants to see what he's really got, ignore tonight and watch on Wednesday. That's where he'll find out what we've really got.
Yeah.
And I think we'll probably be well beaten on Wednesday, if I'm being honest.
Okay. We shall, of course, see. We will all be back, I guess, on Wednesday night for that one. Another Eyes Up Mother Brown with the team. For those of you that don't want to shell out a tenner for the Carabao Cup coverage, it wasn't easy to say. Come and join us, and we'll keep you
called it the League Cup.
The League Cup, as it was once known. No, 5 at the back. Is that the way forward for West Ham now?
Yeah, we've just got to be careful that just to keep goal side of Vardy. Watching them today, Vardy got 2 penalties simply by virtue of getting the wrong side of his defender and drawing the foul. Which is, he's got that little burst on him. So it'll be a different type of problem, which hopefully from Mr. Moyes through his video screen or however he's going to do the training, we'll be getting to work on. It's not going to be an easy run out, but you'd rather be going up there on the back of a 4-0 win against Wolves than pretty much any other result, wouldn't you? So
it really takes the pressure off us, that, doesn't it? As Pinky alluded to a few moments ago, lose tonight, go up and lose. The pressure's really on to do something at Leicester, but we've lessened that threat a little bit now. Rio, great win tonight. Gnome thinks that's the way to go now. Pinky says, yeah, that's pretty much our established first 11 now. Do you agree with that? No need to tinker now that Moyes has finally, found, the formation and tactical approach that fits the squad we've got at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Not just tonight, but last Saturday we saw a vast improvement in our performance. 4-0 has been more central, allows us to attack with more fluidity. We're more creative. Masuaku coming in on the left, he helps protect Creswell, so we look a bit more solid at the back. I don't see how you can change it. The last 2 games have just shown that even with our kind of small pool of first-team players, that we can compete. And as I said earlier, this is about strengthening the squad. If we could strengthen on top of that, we might be a decent prospect, But we played 2 teams who both qualified for Europe quite comfortably last year.
Yep.
And we thrashed one tonight, and let's not take it away that it could have been 7 or 8. So it was an absolute hiding we dished out tonight against a team that's beaten us for the last 4 games. We haven't scored a goal. And we just turned around completely and absolutely gave them a lesson. And last week, Arsenal, away at the Emirates, we was desperately unlucky not to come away with at least a point, How can you change this lineup? We may have stumbled upon it, But with the pool of players that we have in our first team, we look not only more solid at the back, but more fluid going forward. For me, that's the perfect mix. The key is keeping hold of Declan, because the front three work like a dream at the moment. The two in front, just behind them, Souček and Rice, protecting not just the back five, but also augmenting the attack. They're working well as a pair, and they really do look a class above at times. So we have to keep hold of Declan to allow the players that we have to shine. That is key. We're not playing with a fantastic defence, but as I said, we kind of stumbled on the system that is kind of doing the best that it can in kind of protecting ourselves, making up for the lack of pace at left back by having Arthur just in front, working his magic in certain areas. On the right-hand side, obviously Fredericks looks like he could be out for a while, but Ben Johnson kind of slotted in. A little bit of a shaky moment early in his early on when he first come on. After that, he settled down really nicely.
Yeah, didn't put a foot wrong, did he, at all, really?
No. Yeah, I think it's just one dodgy pass at the start, but he's a young kid. You know, he's just been thrust into a Premier League game. That's going to happen. We look solid. Solid at the back, fluid going forward. What more can you ask? Do not tinker with anything. But I think the key is to our fluidity is Fornell's being more central. And over the last two games, I think he's created three goals. For all his detractors, the boy's work rate, his ability on the ball, his ability to find a pass, it's worth his weight in gold for me.
Yeah, we've seen the renaissance of one or two players in the last game or two that have been previously written off, which is obviously fantastic to see. I'm kind of one thing we haven't done actually since the end of the game is just look at the stats. I'll just go over those quickly. The very basic match stats. Possession. Now this was quite interesting. West Ham 37% possession during the game, and Wolves 63%. I'm kind of reminded of that time when Southampton came to the bowling ground and their fans saying we play on the floor. Kept the ball for large portions of the game, played it around in their own third, and then we bashed 4 goals past them. It was not dissimilar to tonight, in fact. But yeah, surprisingly, Wolves sort of 2/3 of possession tonight, but did very, very little with it. Shots: West Ham 15 shots to Wolverhampton Wanderers 11. Shots on target: Wolves just 2 shots on target. West Ham 7, scoring from 4 of them. Which is a pretty impressive conversion ratio. Corners: West Ham just the 1 corner tonight. I'm trying to remember the corner actually. Was it the goal?
It was the goal.
It was the goal, wasn't it? The Cresswell goal. I've got the Cresswell corner for the goal. Wolves 3 corners. Fouls: West Ham conceded 7, and Wolves committed 11 fouls. So interesting stats there, but just goes to show as we always say, the only stat that counts is the one in the goals scored column. Couple of comments coming in on the YouTube chat. Lowell Green talking about, we were asking you for your man of the match to see who you thought stood out tonight. Lowell Green, good to see you again, Lowell. Hope you're doing well, buddy. How good were Oggy and the General tonight? A couple of players we touched on a little bit earlier. But of course, we've gone through everyone, and everyone had a decent performance tonight. Gavin McGrath's just coming to say, you have to give credit to Moyes for being consistent, going back to Project Restart. Consistency plus belief equals success. Interesting point. Now, we lost the first 2 games of the season. Pinky, of course, beaten 2-0 by Newcastle, beaten 2-1 by Arsenal last week. Now, Newcastle, first half, it was a fairly even game, but we could have been 2 or 3-0 up at half time, couldn't we? We hit the bar a couple of times, had a couple of other chances. So you could say that was a good 45 minutes. Fair enough, the second half was a little bit of an aberration. We were pretty dreadful. Go to the Emirates, and I think we would all, maybe we are a little bit biased, but I think we would say at the very least we matched Arsenal. And probably you could argue we were the better team overall. We've just outclassed Wolverhampton Wanderers in both halves here. So going from sort of, that disappointment of having 0 points on the table after 2 games, you could potentially argue that for 5 out of the 6 halves we've played in the Premier League so far this season, we've been pretty damn good. Is that a fair assessment, or am I, is that a little bit over the top?
No, I think it's
Jumping.
sorry.
Go on, no, you jump in first, and then we'll come to Pinky afterwards. That's cool.
Okay. No, I don't think we were that great against Newcastle in the first half.
Okay.
We mentioned this earlier on. I think we lack conviction. First game of the season, so it's you're sort of still finding your feet a little bit, although it had only been 5 minutes since the end of the last one. So
yeah,
I'd like to play Newcastle again this week. It would be interesting to see how that went. So maybe you can write off the Newcastle game as like opening day blues or whatever, or not quite back at it. But Arsenal, as we said, very unlucky. Again, that little bit of focus. I don't think we actually lost focus once today, really. So
you'd go with a 4 out of 6 then, Gnome, rather than a 5 out of 6 in terms of good halves.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Good stuff.
3.5 maybe.
3.5 out of 6. Okay, we'll take that. Pinky, what do you reckon?
I'll be a little bit more generous than Gnome, because I think
there's a first.
Yeah, indeed. If we factor in what I call the Dean Garner disappointment, impacting on the squad as it did and the timing of it, of his sale, I think that probably affected us right at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of mitigation I put in there.
Okay.
But if you go over the last 10 matches, since Project Restart and all the rest of it, I think we've been pretty good generally. I think we've been fine. And just something that just caught my eye, just looking at tonight's starting lineup. Fabianski, who we know is a David Sullivan signing. We know that because he said that on national radio. He had to bully the last manager into taking him.
He did.
Fredericks, who was signed on Pellegrini's watch, we know from Stuart Pearce when he was away from the club in interviews, he was saying that we'd looked at Fredericks, so under the Moyes regime. Balbrena I'll give to Pellegrini. Ogbonna, way before his time. Cresswell, way before Pellegrini's time. Masuaku, way before Pellegrini's time. Bowen in clearly Mr. Moyes. Souček, Mr. Moyes. Rice, nothing to do with Pellegrini. Fornals, he gets a gold star for Fornals. And Antonio been with us quite a while now. So you look at that starting lineup tonight and you see David Sullivan, what were you doing appointing Manuel Pellegrini? What did you think he was going to bring to the club? And, blaming the supporters for letting Pellegrini spend all the money and the director of football and all the rest of it. But you just have to look, you change a manager and really only one proper Pellegrini signing is getting in our starting 11. And maybe, just maybe, what we're seeing is an awful recruitment process under the previous regime has been cruelly exposed by David Moyes now, to the point where the chairman, instead of going on national radio and whinging about the supporters and everybody, should perhaps be saying, actually, I dropped the ball. I appointed the wrong manager when I did. I gave him a load of money to spend, which we didn't have. And now we're in a bit of a doodah. And I mention all this only in the context of the current manager has, I think, about 8 months left on his deal. Just thought I'd mention that.
Yes, of course, yes. Still no extension and given to David Moyes, who was still given another short-term contract. But I just wonder if he's beginning to win our fans over a little bit, Rio, because there's still, I've not looked at the thread tonight, and I will do after we finish this live stream. The very long and extensive David Moyes thread on the KUMB Forum Still an awful lot of critics. Perhaps we should look at that actually to see what's going on in there as well as the match thread before we can we wrap up tonight. But do you think he's winning those critics over? And also going back to the other question, how many decent halves would you say we've had out of the 6 Premier League halves we've played in the 3 matches so far?
For the first one, the halves, I'd go for 4.
Okay.
I think the Newcastle game, we had a 15-minute spell just before half time where we looked kind of threatening, but apart from that, we was by and large stodgy, lacking ideas and intent, and against what isn't a great Newcastle side, we just made it easy for them. Going back to the Moyes thing, I don't think people will be one round. I think not because he's a bad manager, because I think his 2 signings in the summer, in January, Bowen and Souček, have cemented themselves as key components of this team. And just look at what they've brought. I mean, I can't fault them at all. I just think because he come with a bit of a stigma attached to him, just as Sam Allardyce did. Allardyce come with reputations being long ball and brash, northern, and dare we say arrogant. He was never going to win people round. And let's be honest, during his stint here, not only did he get us up, but he was building a decent side. And I think it was the year before he actually quit at Christmas, we was in the top 4.
Yeah.
Before we didn't get the backing that kind of strengthened the team, and we plummeted a little bit. And the fans finally turned. I think Moyes comes with a similar kind of stigma. He come from an Everton side which he built up as a kind of, it wasn't pretty to watch. It was effective, functional. That's at the very best. And ever since he left Everton, which was kind of like a comfort zone for him, he has failed pretty miserably elsewhere. And not only failed, but failed in kind of spectacular fashion at times, you know. That Sunderland side, Sunderland were a bit of a car crash, but he set up himself to go there and it crashed around him. So I think he only came back because he was the cheap and miserable option. We all know that. And I think he's beginning to get things in place. But because he's only on a short-term contract, how much really is he going to be allowed to build? If we had the kind of backing to enable him to buy in this window 2 players a similar kind of calibre as Souček and Bowen, we're a third of a way towards being an exceptional team. But everything is so short-termism that you really can't hope for anything, can you? He can't hope for anything. We can't hope for anything. And you can just see it ending miserably because our chairman do love a bit of vanity kind of signings, don't they? And vanity kind of projects. And if someone a bit more shinier, a bit more foreigner, a bit more bring in the punters kind of name comes along, I've no doubt they'll drop Moyes like a sack of dirt again and look elsewhere. I know he said in the interview this week the Pellegrini experiment failed, but I just think that a leopard can't change its spots. Sullivan will always go for something that looks and good or makes him feel like, oh, I've done this, I've done that. I think Moyes is on hiding or nothing. I think he's doing a decent job here. Hopefully he's going to win people around, but I just think he comes with a stigma attached and he's never going to get a chance to build. So it's never going to end well. He's going to end in tears at some point.
Okay. Interesting points, Rio. Thank you. I mean, I kind of get the feeling that this is another one of those situations where people have become so entrenched as far as their views go with regards to the manager that there's no give or take. You know, it's kind of like if we have a good game like tonight, those people that are on the Moyes, thread constantly being critical, tend not to have anything to say for a week. And then, of course, we may go to Leicester and get beat next week, and they'll be there in full voice again. And the other way round too. It's not just one way. Those who are quite supportive of him, again, I'm sure we'll be out in force tonight, talking about how well he's done. In terms of the managers, it's interesting you mentioned Allardyce, and I get that. And I just wonder also, yes, where is the inspiration for a manager to put a project in place and to build long term if you're only ever working on a short term contract? Because at any point he knows within a year that he could be out of work, and what's the point in buying? He's spoken about the Red Bull model, but what's the point of implementing a model like that if you're never going to get the opportunity to see it through? In terms of the managers, the one that this kind of all reminds me of, I go back a little bit further, and I go back to Glenn Roeder, and the way that so many people just would not give Glenn Roeder the chance, and even to this day, people talk about Glenn Roeder being the worst manager West Ham have ever had, or perhaps not so much now, given Avram Grant came in and succeeded him. But let's not forget, it wasn't a particularly brilliant season, but Glenn Roeder did lead West Ham to one of our highest ever finishes in the club's history, finishing 7th place in 2001, 2002. But yeah, I do see a lot of similarities between Moyes and that in the sense that, everyone's kind of, entrenched in their views. Do you sort of see where I'm coming from with that?
Oh,
Rio?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And let's not forget, I know Roeder's second season, we got relegated with that squad. But we also got relegated, was it the highest points ever?
Yeah.
For a team?
42, of course, yeah.
We didn't get the backing, but I think in the summer, wasn't it?
Exactly, that summer. We bought Gary Breen, didn't we, on the strength, and I think it was Sofiane, wasn't it? Youssef Sofiane, we got on a free when he was 18, and that was the only other signing we made until January. Yeah.
We didn't get the players that we needed until January, and by then we was on the back foot and it was too late. What was it? We brought in, was it Brevitt and Les Ferdinand?
Les Ferdinand, yeah, of course.
Now, if we'd have brought them in, we'd have brought them in during that summer window rather than the January one, we would have stayed up quite comfortably in my eyes,
Yeah, well, I think that's borne out by the statistics, Rio, isn't it? That I'm fairly certain we were top 8 from January in terms of form between January and May, and but yet we hadn't. When was the first win? Was it January the 30th, 31st when we beat Blackburn 1-0 at home?
It's just certain managers. I don't know if it's something to do with their support. You're completely right. They will never be accepted fully.
Yeah,
Roeder, and this is the thing. They're always, well, more or less, always managers who have come without a West Ham background.
Yeah.
People with West Ham history might be afforded a little bit more time. But we've had outsiders come in. Macari's still very much pilloried, despite the fact that we wasn't great, but he brought in some excellent signings.
Mm-hmm.
Grant would never be taken to. There's a lot of people who didn't like Zola because of his Chelsea connection.
Yep.
But Allardyce, Moyes, Roeder, they're always on the hide into nothing because they've got no West Ham kind of connections. And sometimes a clean sweep and fresh ideas is needed. I hope Moyes gets the chance to build like he did at Everton because, it wasn't pretty to watch, but it was functional and it earned him the right to be Manchester United manager. And that's a bit of a statement when Sir Alex Ferguson's the one who says, I want this man to succeed me. So he's obviously got a pedigree within football. He's got a history of being a successful manager. Just ever since he left Old Trafford, his career has nosedive, hasn't it? And I think not only is he not a West Ham man, he's at the tail end of something. We're just picking up allegedly the dregs and trying to he's kind of got to rebuild his career up with us. So I just think he's come. He's not West Ham, and we picked him up when he's now his career's been a bit of a nosedive.
Yeah,
so it doesn't make for happy reading.
Good stuff. Excellent stuff, Rio. Hobo says good points, Rio. So obviously appreciated by everyone on the chat. Sorry, I'm just looking in two places at once. Pinky, I'm going to have to dart out for about 30 seconds. So I'm going to hope you can be verbose enough to keep things ticking over until I return. But just on that, I mean, Rio, does Rio have a point there that we're still that kind of sort of inward looking as a fan base, that we don't give the chance to someone who isn't necessarily associated with the club? Looking back at the last few years, Rio mentioned Zola, Gianfranco Zola, not really given, absolutely, slated when he came in, and never really given a chance by people because of the Chelsea connection. Avram Grant, well, I mean, I guess people had a point there. Sam Allardyce, many people never ever gave Sam a chance, and you could probably argue that Sam did do a decent job in terms of stabilising the club, bringing us back into the Premier League. Slaven Bilic came in. Everyone loves Slav. In the end, it all kind of went sour, but he was given a sort of big opportunity to do that. So, do you think we're slightly to blame in that sense as a fan base, and in not giving all managers an opportunity? And I'll be back very quickly.
Okay, well, yes and no, and the yes is we're quite vocal in our opposition to certain managers, but no in the fact that in reality we don't get a vote. One person makes the decision on the manager, and that's the chairman. So in that sense, I'm not having the supporters blamed per se, but earlier you described us as having 5 at the back tonight, when actually for most of the game, I didn't really see 5 at the back. I'm a bit more generous and I'd describe it as a 3 at the back. So, but again, our mentality is, unless we've got 2 recognised strikers on the pitch playing in a 4-4-2, we always think the manager's going a bit negative, and that did for Allardyce almost from day one. Moyes is tarnished for the same reputation. I think we've got elements of our support that saw some of the truly great players that we had in the 80s, the 70s and 80s, whereby we're prisoners of that, whereby you're not going to see a Brooking, a Bonds and a Devonshire in too many lineups for West Ham, that caliber of player. And did we appreciate at the time the absolute superstars that we had? Probably not. And we're almost held hostage by that, and every manager since has been held hostage by that. I've said it before about David Moyes. You don't manage professional football clubs for over 900 games if you don't know the job. You don't get handed the job at Old Trafford unless you're deemed to be, at the very least, a competent manager. Inspirational is a different thing altogether. But for people to suggest that David Moyes doesn't know how to build teams, select players, organise, a basic tactical approach, well, it's laughable, the suggestion that he doesn't. Of course he does. What he doesn't do is stick 6 strikers on the pitch every week and go and outscore the opposition 5-4. And because no manager actually does that. No manager we've ever had has ever done that. Yeah. Whatever people think, when they look back through rose-tinted glasses. So for me, we can be a bit harsh. I mean, I recall in the Allardyce era, I started a thread on the forum, which was the title of which was "Sure, we're winning, but are we enjoying what we're watching?" And we just won 4-0 away at Watford. And I came home after the game, and that's the only thread that I thought I could start, because Allardyce's big crime that night, we got an early goal, and I saw him do it. He immediately turned, I think it's to Jack Collis, and he just told him to tuck in a bit. Thought, here we go. Yeah. The fact that we then went on to get another 3 goals that night, no, the die was cast. My mind was made up. Allardyce is a 1-0 man. That's it. That's all he wants to do. So we'll express those opinions. The problem I've got, again, is with the chairman for listening to us. At the end of the day, we've got Moyes now. He's out of work again next summer, the way things stand currently. Surely to goodness, it ought to be something as simple as saying, David, we'll give you a rolling 12-month contract. That gives you some security.
Yeah.
It doesn't absolutely hamstring the club in terms of a massive payout if things go horribly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And at least that way you've got some kind of a balance in terms of what we're doing. The way things are going at the minute, we face the prospect of the manager leaving the club before Felipe Anderson. And we're actually trying to sell Anderson. So for me, the chairman doesn't help the manager because he's just sitting there quietly, won't give the manager any money to spend, won't extend the manager's contract. And what we're going to do when we get to, say, February, and let's say we're sat in 8th, what's the chairman going to do then? Is he going to say to David Moyes, I'm still not giving you a contract? And we end up in a Sam Allardyce situation where the manager then just assumes, well, he doesn't want me here anymore. And then we drift down the league 7 or 8 places. Mm-hmm. History's repeating itself.
Yeah.
And I keep coming back to it. The problem's not in the dugout. The problem's in the boardroom, and it's David Sullivan. Because what he's trying to do is keep us lot happy, and he's second guessing what we really want. What he should be doing is going, do you know what? What's my objective measures that I'm going to actually measure the manager's performance by? And a not unreasonable one would say, I want to be top half. There you go. If you're top half, throughout the 3 years that you've got a contract for, you get another contract. It's not difficult to set some sort of things like that in place. But David Sullivan, he wants to have it all ways. He wants to be loved by the supporters. He wants to keep control over the manager, apart from the one manager where he lost his marbles on, gave him a truckload of money to spend, and it's bitten us on the backside. And I illustrated that a quarter of an hour ago with the starting lineup. Yeah, some of the big money signings made in the Pellegrini watch aren't getting anywhere near the starting lineup. And that's not David Moyes' fault. He's the man who's been hired to solve the problem. He didn't create it. And the chairman needs to look at himself and go, do you know what? I got it badly wrong then. And my fear is he'll get it badly wrong again because he's letting the manager's contract situation drift. And he shouldn't do that.
Excellent. Thank you, Pinky, and especially for holding the fort while I had to pop out for a brief moment there. Thank you very much. We are going to wrap up very, very shortly. I'll come to you all briefly for your overall summary of what we've seen tonight. Let's just have a quick recap. An absolutely brilliant night for West Ham. Smashed Wolverhampton Wanderers off the park, 4-0. Great stuff from the Hammers. But no, just before we come to everyone's final summary, Mike Larkin, hi Mike, good to see you on the stream, says, for a decade Moyes was the best manager outside the top 4 in the league. The stigma around him is very unfair. He used to work miracles on 0 budgets at Everton. And Gavin McGrath adds, I may be wrong, but didn't Everton finish 9th or higher every year under Moyes? I mean, they certainly qualified for the Champions League, didn't they once, even though it was an admittedly brief sojourn into that particular competition. But no, David Moyes, West Ham fans, are we to blame, for not giving Moyes a chance? Do we need to be, sort of less insular in terms of, the way we approach our managers?
I don't think it's a question of insularity as such. And we could talk for hours about this this West Ham way. What I would say is where he differs from Allardyce, and I think we've kind of lumped his football into the same bucket as Allardyce, and Pinky's mentioned, the respect the 1-0 or respect the point, whatever. I think the big difference between Moyes and Allardyce, for me, is that there's a more fundamental. It's almost. I've got to phrase this carefully because I don't want to call Allardyce dishonest, but Moyes is more honest about the way he goes about the game. For example, you and I, how many press conferences have we sat in on over the years after a game where we've watched us draw 0-0, we might have won 1-0 or 2-0, where Mr. Allardyce would come in, and having had a good 10 minutes on the laptop, would produce all sorts of statistics, try to tell you that in fact, what you've been watching was Brazil versus Italy in the 1970 World Cup. And, you know, it's, yeah, I've done a fair few conferences with Moyes. We haven't won many games over the years. It's not been a great few years one way or another. But I can't imagine Moyes ever coming up to me and coming up to facing the press at the end of a game that has been poor and saying anything else that you know, that was a poor game, or we played badly, or you know, even if we've won, it wasn't perhaps pretty, but we had to knuckle down and do it. So I've got a lot more respect for David Moyes, and that the style of football he's become known for isn't perhaps my favourite, but yeah, I've got a lot more time for him as a person, purely because he's not going to tell me a clapped out Citroen 2 CV is a Rolls Royce. I mean, I've been listening. Rio and Pinky have had a good chat, and we've been talking about the Sullivan interview, and I wasn't around for the point by point, but I would say that yeah, Mr. Sullivan pointed out that the director of football situation did not work, and so which is why we've now gone back to having perhaps a more hands-on role.
Yeah.
Now, what I'd say is that it's not the director of football position having one of those itself. Maybe the wrong person was in that job. And yeah, we saw last year, okay, we dropped Roberto, but we at least replaced him with another goalkeeper. If we'd applied the same logic, we said, well, we had a goalkeeper, he was rubbish, so we're not having one anymore. You know, I think we still need one. Okay, reducing it to its absurd level maybe, but it does illustrate the point. So, you know, I want David Moyes to succeed. I think that he gets slightly unfairly tarred with the same brush. I mean, Rio painted a pretty horrible picture of that Everton side, but they were tough, uncompromising. But there was pace in that side at times, and you know, which it's you got the impression that whatever the style of football, their first priority was to at least try and win the game, as opposed to their first priority being not to lose it, which is a fundamental difference, I think, between Moyes and Allardyce. Personal view, but okay.
But it's interesting there, because that was a charge that was quite often thrown at Allardyce, and I you know, I sort of thought about that, and I'm not sure that necessarily rings true. Maybe that is probably correct, but you know, the age-old criticism that was often aimed at Allardyce was that, you know, he'd be looking to draw 0-0, or you know, and I can't believe that a professional manager who has reached the top of his profession in the sense that they're managing in the Premier League would ever go out deliberately. Maybe at Chelsea, you know, maybe playing 19th century football every now and again. But it strikes me that I find it hard to believe that any manager would go out wanting to draw a game.
Maybe Allardyce is his own worst enemy in that respect, because the comments that he often came out with, certainly the style of play sometimes would seem to back up that. Certainly it seemed to be a priority for him.
Yeah.
And I mean, Pinky, we've had that at the one end, and we've had Pinky saying, well, let's play 6 strikers and try and win 5-4, which would be lovely, of course, every week. But there's got to be a balance. There's got to be somewhere in between, you know, sort of going out to not lose and going out to win 5-4 every week. There's got to be a balance where and I think tonight we saw that balance is possible. We've scored 4 goals tonight. We've had a cracking game.
Yep.
We were strong in defence, and you know, when we attacked it wasn't lump it forward long ball by any stretch of the imagination. It was good to watch.
Yeah,
it was entertaining.
We're going to come to that in just a minute, Noam, because I'm going to ask you for your thoughts on on tonight's game in just a second. We'll wrap up with that anyway. But Yes, some really good points on David Moyes there, everyone. And let's hope that, you know, a few more fans do actually sort of give him a bit of backing. Rio, we're gonna look at the thread there, weren't we, on KUMB, just to see what some of the comments were about David Moyes tonight.
Yeah, well, there's one that really does stand out, and I think it's showing one really I can bring to light. Stu one has put, it's easy to come on after a positive performance and sing Moyes' praises. Just the same as it's easy to do the opposite after a poor performance. However, one thing which cannot be denied, this is another performance which discounts the myth is a boring dinosaur who sets up for a 1-0 or a draw. It's simply not true. The amount of goals we score under him proves this. Now, this doesn't mean the performance or result proves Moyes is is the right man for the job, but please stop this with this lazy stereotype of our playing style under him. Let's also not claim this result has nothing to do with Moyes and give Irving all the credit. The starting lineup was the same against Arsenal, except for the enforced change of Diop, with no subs until the 80th minute. Our set-up and use of subs were clearly Moyes' doing. So I think that kind of reinforces what we're saying, that there's a lot of stereotyping going around. We've had a couple of comments on the Moyes thread going, oh, Irving's led us to a 5-1 victory and a 4-0 victory.
I wonder who they were from.
Yeah, all the hallmarks there were Moyes' architecture of this, you know?
Yeah.
He set us up. He's made the decision for the Arsenal game. We carried it on. The changes are right. The Motorola SIM that we've given him clearly got through the signal.
Yeah.
The IT's in place with. This is a Moyes technical work, not just something that's been foisted upon him.
Excellent. Thank you, Rio, for keeping an eye on the forum all night. Gentlemen, I'm going to come to you now for your final summary of this evening. We are going to wrap up, leave it now for the night. It's been a thoroughly entertaining and enjoyable night for West Ham United. West Ham United 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Great performance for West Ham. We shoot up the table. We have a positive goal difference. We have a positive fan base. Everything's looking really good. We might even get to buy a player next week. You never know the way it's going. You know, wonders may never cease. A couple of comments before I come to you guys for your final summary. Kieran James Devaney, keeping the positivity going, says, the sun is shining brightly here in Brisbane and I'm smiling. Happy days. Come on, you Irons. Enjoy your day, Kieran. Have a lovely one out there and enjoy the sunshine. From another part of the world, Gavin McGrath, as they say, oh, actually, Gavin's not there, but he's just mentioning a comment from the USA. He says, as they say in America, winning changes everything. If you give David Moyes a chance and we see constant improvement, the fans will come around. So Gavin's saying that it's up to David Moyes to change the fans' opinion. No, can I just say before we do go, thank you to everybody who's joined us on the live chat once again. Thank you for your comments, for keeping us going. It's always good to see what you guys are thinking of the game as well, and you know, getting your feedback as we go along. So thank you everyone for participating. Also to everybody on the Knees Up Mother Brown, the KUMB.com match thread. It's been quite a busy one, Rio, hasn't it, tonight? We've had quite a lot of posts on there, considering we've won. Normally it goes very quiet when we're winning, but we've had an awful lot of posts on there tonight. So good stuff. Good stuff.
38 pages and counting.
Marvellous, marvellous. We could hit the half century by the morning. You never know. No, I cut you off in your prime just a few minutes ago, my friend, when you were just...
No, I've always been this short.
When you were just about to eulogise, I believe, about our performance tonight and tell us what a fantastic 90 minutes it was for West Ham. So let's get right back into that and wrap up with your final thoughts, buddy, please.
Well, let's put it this way. Today, Essex have won a trophy.
Yes, of course, we forgot that. Yeah,
yeah. Essex. I've seen Tottenham throw away 2 points hilariously, and yeah, I was a bit of a doubt tonight because my sides still ache. Newcastle didn't really lay a glove on them for 90 minutes and still got
the tomb.
with one of those horrendous VAR penalties. Oh, so funny. And you know, I thought, well, you know, I'll be honest. I thought we were going to get a draw tonight. I did say earlier on, all the way through, but you know, it was brilliant. It was a superb performance. everybody involved deserves the biggest credit possible. And yeah, I've got, you cannot complain about that whatsoever. Just one final point before I go. I've lost the guy's name on here, but there's a chap who sort of come on the YouTube thing from Darlington and mentioning when we played sometime in the 70s, 1975 in the League Cup. And we won 3-0, but I can't remember the scorers. But no, perfect day today. Can't knock it. Long may it continue.
Best eyes up, Mother Brown yet? Did we say?
Did we say that?
No, I'm saying, was it the best one yet?
Well, there's no Briss, there's no Dyer's Leg, there's no Chalks. I mean, I'll leave others to be the judge of that. Sorry, guys.
Thank you once again for your company and your words of wisdom throughout the evening. Pinky, I shall come to you for your final thoughts, my friend. Another wonderful, I say another, it wasn't really another, but 9 goals this week for West Ham. We're going to be running out of superlatives at this rate.
Boring West Ham. Yes. Boring West Ham. Listen, 4-0. You've got to be happy with that. And more so with the performance of the scoreline, because 6-0 wouldn't have flattered us. We were much, much better than Wolverhampton Wanderers tonight. Far, far better than them. And tonight, for me, nobody gave a bad performance. That was the key. And so I'd say most were 6.5, 7 out of 10s. And we had a couple of 9s chucked in there as well. So for my money, worthy winners. Great win for us tonight. Big 3 points. I fear for us midweek, but let's enjoy tonight. 4-0 against Wolves, who thus far in 2 seasons we've not scored against, not looked like getting a point against. And we've battered them tonight. Traore, their key man in the last few games, didn't look like he was going to get anything today. Got no change out of us whatsoever. They chucked on their £35 million player. Didn't make much difference, and we did everything right tonight. And in Antonio, Bowen and Fornals, we had the 3 outstanding players on the pitch and thoroughly deserved the win. So well done, West Ham.
Well done, West Ham. And thank you, Pinky, as always, for your valuable insight throughout the last few hours, my friend. 1975, 8th of October, 1975, to be precise.
About this time of year.
It was in front of 19,844 supporters at Upton Park. Billy Bond's penalty, Graham Padden and Keith Robson scoring the goals. Billy Jennings coming on as a substitute for Kevin Locke to complete the stats for that particular night. It was the League Cup round 3, West Ham 3, Darlington 0. A few years ago that was now. Rio, last word, my friend, on the night. Last word, last subject. West Ham United 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Take it away, buddy.
I've got nothing but praise. We've attacked with fluidity. We've created chance after chance after chance. 7 or 8-0 wouldn't have flattered us. We was that good today. Yet we also defended with application. Every single player put in an absolute shift, gave their all. We looked like a thoroughly good, entertaining side. In our kind of moderators' little WhatsApp group before the game, we said that rather than watching what we presumed was going to be a defeat tonight, David Moyes be watching Songs of Praise instead. But
true.
Him 30, Mikel Antonio. Him 20, Jared Bowen, and him 18, Pablo Fornals, has brought us an absolute miracle performance, a sign from God, and good God, was it great. Well done, West Ham United. We was excellent today. Thank you very much.
Just quickly, yes or no, Rio, best performance yet at the London Stadium?
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
Against a really good, strong Wolves side that everyone's been lording over since their return to the Premiership. We've not just beaten them, we've took them apart. We've bullied them. We've played them off the park. What can you say? It was an amazing performance. Oh, yeah, I think it is the best we've come up with at that stadium.
Okay, thank you, Rio. Pinky, yes or no?
No.
Not beaten by which particular games?
I couldn't tell you offhand, but I mean, you've got me positive tonight on West Ham. I've said nice things. Let's not go overboard. All right.
Thank you, Pinky. No, Noam, yes or no? Best performance at the London Olympic Stadium?
Probably not. Thinking, I mean, recently Chelsea, where I mean, we're dreadfully unlucky to be only 3-2 in that one. I thought that was that was a good performance. And if we had half an hour, I could probably sit back and go through a few others. But that was the most recent one. But it was pretty close to it, though.
Good stuff. Well, we'll take that, I think, up there just about with anything else we've produced in the last 4 years, but maybe one or two that Pinky can perhaps think of for next week. I don't know. But anyway, that's it for tonight. That is the end of another Eyes Up Mother Brown. Thank you to everyone for joining us on YouTube for this latest live stream. We shall, of course, be back on Tuesday, or is it Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday, isn't it, for the trip to Everton? If, of course, West Ham can afford to go. Who knows? They might have to hitchhike up the M1. You never know the way things are going. David Sullivan, of course, pretty strapped at the moment, hasn't got a lot of money in his pocket. Who knows whether we'll get there or not. If West Ham do turn up at Goodison Park, if they do make the journey up there, we shall be there in spirit at least also. Thank you for joining us. As I say, once again tonight, we look forward to seeing you all again very soon on the next Eyes Up Mother Brown. West Ham United 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. We're in the top half of the table. We have a positive goal difference. We've scored 9 goals in a week. We're in dreamland. Come on, you Irons.